Hello, everyone. It is us again, the Salty Triangle podcast, where we discuss anime and manga and all other stuff that interests us about that topic around about. Again, with us, Sheila and Pory. So today we wanted to have talk about fashion in anime, which is a topic that Sheila really wanted to discuss for reasons we will hopefully find out soon. But before that, we shall talk about all of the stuff that we've been watching since. Well, it's been 5 weeks now, hasn't it?
Yep.
It's been very long, and so
Yeah,
probably a lot to catch up on. And I think I'll be starting with Pori with the stuff from seasonals.
Yeah, this season's pretty good actually, to be honest.
Better than the last few.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to try to be better than those last few seasons, but
I mean, 2020 in general was kind of shitty, so you know,
true.
anime-wise.
And
So shitty even that Giga didn't even make a yearly recount because he didn't feel it was worth it.
yeah, it's a
Wait,
bit
who
of a
didn't do that?
dick.
Giguk.
Oh,
Giga.
yeah, I mean, that's based.
He's been doing them every year since 2013. Okay, dude, I am not a Gen Z. I'm still in the millennial category. Please tell me what base means exactly.
I wish I could tell you.
No, fuck you too.
It means
Alright,
whatever you
Urban
want it to
Dictionary.
mean.
Urban Dictionary.
It means
Look at me
roughly.
being old.
It means what?
Look at me being old.
I mean, it means like I don't know.
It has a meaning, but
It's a
cannot be
feeling.
put
It's
into
a
words.
it's a state of mind. It's like trying to explain a color to someone. You can't do it.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even Urban Dictionary has it yet. They only have like the sexual
Everyone-
advancement basis.
Everyone uses based, but no one knows what it means.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of feel it out by the way everyone
Oh
else
my
does it.
god! There's literally a description in there. Something all of which are belong to us.
Based.
That's
The
the wrong
best
base
way
for
that I
Wikipedia
can
is.
feel like it might be right to describe as is something that is true.
No, you can say something that's untrue and still be based. You can definitely do that.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
I haven't seen
Also,
that kind of use
apparently,
yet.
base also refers to crack cocaine.
I mean,
I mean, that might be what they're
everything-
referring to. I mean,
So if you know what based means,
I do
it
not
was
know.
based. That's what we're trying to say. It has
I
no
don't even know what
meaning.
we're talking about anymore. I
Yeah.
lost the thread.
We're an anime podcast.
yeah, it doesn't mean any. It actually doesn't mean anything. It means whatever you want. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. You can just say it in any sentence and it'll be like fits. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
based.
yeah,
And I'll
true.
just start saying shit on everyone.
The based podcast.
Okay. Quick question: is it
That's a good
generally
name.
used as something positive or something negative? So I know that at least.
Positive, yeah. If
Okay.
something's based, it's a good thing.
Okay.
In fact, it's a very good thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that is true at least.
All right, so let's talk about some shows that are based. So, okay, the
One
best show
Direct.
this season. Okay, no, the best show this season is Molcar, the best show ever made.
It's
Wait,
Unironically, it's like
what?
hilarious. Yeah, this is the best show ever.
Molka?
Pew, whatever. Pew Molcar, the greatest anime of all time. It's 2
Wait,
minute shorts.
I have to look that one up.
It's 2 minute shorts about these cars that are guinea pigs. And yeah, that's about it. And they people drive them and stuff. And they're it's
Write
funny
it.
and
I have not
hilarious.
heard of this
Me
gem
neither.
it's the greatest show of all time. It really is.
on
It's
Ironically.
hilarious. I mean, it's fucking
It's
good.
still your top
If
spot.
I yeah, definitely it did. Yeah. No, it's really fucking good though. It's really funny and it's adorable, and it's got some good morals. I think it's supposed to be for kids, but I can't imagine a child watching it other than the fact that there's guinea pigs in it.
And it's about guinea pigs cars.
That are cars. Yep. I mean, yeah.
And people driving them, and that's
Yeah, people drive them. Yeah, definitely.
Where does
The anatomy of these, the anatomy doesn't make sense because
I was
there was a episode where about littering, and this guy's littering, and he's throwing all the rubbish around, and then his car is eating the rubbish because it's a guinea pig, and then it's coming through like the glove box. So when he throws rubbish out, it comes back to him, which is really funny. And then it gets diarrhea, so it goes to the guinea pig toilet, I guess, and then it like shits him out. Fucking hilarious. That episode's really funny.
So your general enjoyment of the show comes from the jokes.
like humor.
Well, it's fun. I mean, it's good visual humor. It's just like, yeah. I mean,
you were.
I mean,
it's not gag. It's not like a gag manga or a gag
well, I guess
series?
it's kind of. I mean, I guess
you're a huge fan.
I
of
don't
gag
think
series.
I don't think I know what gag really means, to be honest.
Joke.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, I guess it is then because they're all jokes.
I mean, there are comedy series that aren't gag series, right? Gag series are usually reliant on a set series of jokes.
Is SpongeBob a
No,
gag
not
series?
necessarily, because the other type of comedy is, like humor-based comedy. Gag is literally a synonym for joke.
Okay, but is SpongeBob a gag show?
Some episodes are, others aren't
Okay.
so much. I think.
Okay, it's a gag show then. It definitely is a gag show.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean,
Well, okay, so not to go too deep into this, but I'm curious. What sets this series apart from other gag shows?
okay, first of all,
I don't know, Gintama or Hinamatsuri.
If your show is just jokes the whole time, it can't be 24 minutes long because you just get bored.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 minutes is the perfect amount of time, and to be honest, for 2 minutes, there's probably like 7 or 8 jokes. So that's like a joke every 15 seconds. That's a pretty good rate for a joke.
That's fair.
I have the sinking feeling I wouldn't laugh at a single one of them.
No, that's fucking hilarious.
I mean, Sheila laughs at the weirdest shit that I don't find funny, and the other.
And
way
I don't laugh
around
at absolutely any other shit.
Okay. Well. Okay. Let me tell you episode 1. Okay.
In 2 minutes.
So they're in a traffic jam. There's a guinea pig traffic jam, and they're all making like angry guinea pig noises because they're stuck in this traffic jam. Okay. And the reason they're stuck in the traffic jam is because the guinea pig at the front is having his like lunch. He's eating like lettuce and stuff.
Oh, that
So we're all in
sounds
traffic jam.
absolutely not horrifying. What's what I'm looking for here? That sounds so annoying already.
Yeah, I mean it is. At the end of the road is a hospital, and so we have our main character guinea pig, I guess, and an ambulance comes up behind them in the queue, and their sirens are whirring, but they can't go anywhere because there's a traffic jam because there's a guinea pig at the front. So the guinea pig, they climb over the traffic jam, and then they start crawling over the traffic jam. And the ambulance follows behind. The whole row sees this happening, goes, "Oh, that's genius!" So then the whole traffic jam like flips on itself because it's all going over itself, and then like a police guinea pig shows up at the front to like get the guy out because he's like he's holding up the queue, and then like they all like crash and stuff.
Literally none of what you described sounds even remotely funny.
Yeah, but it is
visually.
It's fun. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to watch it for it to be funny.
Yeah,
I mean,
you had to be there, kind of humor.
Yeah, you had to be. Yeah, you had to be there.
Which is the newest meme.
It's kind of funny. It took you nearly as much time to
that's
explain the episode than it is.
The episode is probably shorter than that, to be honest. We probably could have just watched it. Yeah.
We could time it in the editing how long it took for you to explain that exact scene. It's like one scene, isn't it?
Yeah. Doing that though. That's.
Oh, it's also okay. Let me get your academic brain to appreciate it. Okay, it's stop motion, and they're made of like I don't know foam, I suppose, and it's stop motion, so you should like it more, right?
Please tell her. I'm already sold.
Yeah, you go. See?
Yeah, that's the first thing you should have said. Is that it's a stop motion show, and I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm watching that.
Oh, and actually, when the people are like, those little like army men, like, tiny little figures. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the people are like that on the outside, like when they're walking around, but in the car, it's real life people, and they're like
Oh.
actual actors are playing inside the car. Yeah, that's pretty.
All right, I am 100% sold now.
That sounds a lot more. That sounds a lot different. I was thinking that like this was an anime. I was like, that's pretty low budget sounding.
Well, I mean, it's anime. I mean, it is anime.
Now, technically speaking, everything that is animated is anime.
Yeah.
True. So it is.
True.
Okay, then for the shows that pale in comparison, right? The race for second place is Wonder Egg and Harumiya, definitely. Yeah, to be honest, I couldn't really like. You could ask me today, I would probably say Wonder Egg. You could ask me tomorrow, I might say Harumiya. I mean, it's pretty 50-50.
Right, I think we've talked about both before. Wonder Egg being a very weird show that just seems to overpower you with so much weirdness that you don't really think about. How
Well, there is a
not...
point to the show. It's about like
bullying.
depression and stuff and whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's about basically every like negative, like social, like personal conflict you could think of. It probably has that in the show. To be honest, I mean,
Here, when it comes to like interpersonal relationships, it's fairly difficult to navigate, and therefore opens up a lot of problems. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was a show that a lot of people could relate to over there.
I mean, they can't like the number of problems in the show. The net is so wide that you would have to have like, I can't imagine your life being so good that you wouldn't, none of them would hit. That'd be pretty impressive.
Not a single problem. I feel like this is the kind of show that I'd like to watch once it's finished. I don't see myself watching this kind of a show week by week. If there is any show I'd like to watch week by week at this point. Well, I mean, I do watch one show week by week right now, but let's leave that for a little later.
Oh, you could at least mention it.
I mean, that's harder for you for the editing, because then you have to switch back and forth.
Wow,
no, you don't.
He's so considerate.
And Horimiya, I mean, romance, but done really well.
Yeah, I mean, well, when it's the main characters, it is done very well.
Right.
Yeah, that's the like. It would be the best show if they were the only characters in the show.
Why are the other characters so bad then?
They just don't like as like comedic relief. They're like competent, but when the show's like, all right, let's investigate these people's lives now. You just have such little reason to care at all that it's just mind numbing.
How much time? Like, how many episodes are out?
8.
How much time has the show spent on like side characters? Seriously, do you think?
In the most recent episodes, probably in the last 4 episodes, probably about 40%, 35%, 40%, something like that. Yeah, it's just like not very interesting at all, to be honest.
Shayla, I think you're a fan of Horimiya. Is that something that you find as well, having read the manga, that the side characters?
Absolutely not. No, that's why I'm saying one of the things that like that's a hot take, because like the side characters are all great. And I kind of love how they just, at least in the manga, like I haven't watched the anime yet. I've said this time and time again, and you know me, I don't watch seasonals. But yeah, one of the things that I love how the manga does it is, all of these characters are there, from the get-go. But, it seems like they're one of side characters most of the time, and then one after another slowly but surely slides their way into the show and becomes just as interesting as, the main cast. And that is, like, really, really well done, how slowly but surely the world opens up as we get to know more and more about our 2 main leads. I find it quite brilliant.
I would like that to be true, but I don't think it is. Like, of the ones that they've actually, like, spent any amount of time really, like, talking about, the blonde one is, like, so, what's the word?
Annoying?
No.
boring, unamusing.
Well, she is boring, but that's not very descriptive.
Yeah, that's true. Pedantic.
My first thought of her was ditzy.
Well, she is, but she's just like she just
Simple.
doesn't act. She just like sits there, and it's like, feel bad for me because I'm sitting around and not
Big
trying to.
point, actually. That is absolutely 100% on purpose.
Yeah,
Because
I
that's
mean,
kind
I
of her
imagine it
character
is,
arc.
but it's not very fun to watch a person just, maybe the
Until it
payoff will
becomes
be
her character
massive.
arc.
It's possible that the payoff will be massive, but I don't think the show is really like, I think if
I
the
don't
time
know.
in
Explain it
between,
to me.
if the time in between is going to be as long and as, arduous as it is, I don't know if I really care about the payoff. In all honesty.
But the characters just sliding in, because like I said, most of the characters for quite a while just seem kind of like like one-off background characters that are just kind of there until you realize that all of these little moments that they were just kind of there, not really doing anything, were all setting up for their own character arcs. And when those kick off for whatever reason, every character has something else that kicks off their own little character arc. That's when you really see all of these tiny little moments being like, oh wait, okay, that's what that was there for. But before then, at least in the manga, like, you don't really take note of any of them because, again, they're just there, kind of in the background, absolutely unnoteworthy. And I honestly think like that is completely and utterly made on purpose, and it's really, really, it's supposed to be a really smooth transition into being the one note off background character into like being a really nicely developed part of the main cast, or at least the main side cast.
Maybe it's just the way it's done in the anime then, because I feel like there are so many lines of dialogue that just don't matter at all. And for a show about like school, like that makes sense because most people's general conversations don't matter at all. But if we're trying to achieve a goal, watching them, just meander around talking about, whatever people talk about doesn't really, fulfill what you're watching the show for, which is,
And you say that while loving the first episode of Lucky Star.
Yeah, because there's no goal in that show.
Now, there for a lot
I
of
want them
conversations,
to
there's
meander.
not
I
really a
want
goal
them to
there
meander.
either.
Wait, what was that? Sorry.
For a lot of the conversations happening in the show, there's not really a goal there either.
Yeah, I agree. That's the point. But in this show, there is a goal.
No,
so
I meant in Horimiya, and a lot of the conversations in Horimiya, there's not really a goal. It's just
no, but there is a goal though. Like there is by the end, like the goal is to be a couple for these characters, right?
Yeah, but aren't they like? Didn't they get together in like episode 5 or something? Spoilers.
Who? Which ones?
The main couple.
The main couple got together. Oh, well, like officially, like yeah, I think so. But I like them because they actually like make progress in their relationship. The other ones don't.
Well, the others, some of them do get together, others don't. Others were like, oh shit, I thought they were going together with this person, and they don't. It's like, there are different type of, it's kind of, one of the things I like about it is that it portrays, all of the different kinds of couples that are out there. No relationship is like any other. They don't advance at the same rate, they don't happen at the same rate, they don't happen in the same ways. They happen in, more traditional ways, more ambiguous ways. They communicate differently. Hori and Miyamura are those two, that kind of like hit it off immediately and take almost no time to get together. But, and there are other couples that take forever because, they cannot get over whatever problems they have. And then there are others who, are kind of together for a lot of the time, but also kind of not. And you don't really know what's going on because it's all ambiguous. And then there are others who, are like best friends and are actually together, but don't even know they are together. There are so many different dynamics when it comes to how people get together or how they don't get together, and every single one of those characters and every single couple that is going to happen or has already happened, I don't know how far the show is in yet, is different in that way.
They'd have to make it entertaining though.
Yeah, that's the problem. Because
but like I think we have established that you cannot trust Pory's taste in things.
Because in the most recent episode, wait, I'm right? Yeah, in the most recent episode, the pink, we get the red one and the pink one's backstory, and like I think that.
Backstory.
Well, sorry.
quote unquote backstory.
Oh yeah, I mean, how they got together or whatever. And I think like in a bubble, their story is like pretty fine. Like their story is fine, but to be honest, like it doesn't. Like I don't know. I can't remember what else happens in the episode. I can't imagine that was the whole episode though, because it felt like it was like 3 minutes of a show. Because it's just like, this girl is the most attractive in the class. Everyone wants to talk to her, but I don't, because I'm not like that. I give her a book. She reads the book. We talk about books. She comes to my house. We realize we're in love. End of chapter. Like that was I don't think there's a lot of payoff in that.
I think they were meant to be, since they're already together at the beginning.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but I want to, I want to be like, wow, that's a great, I want to, wow, what a lovely story, what a, how adorable. But it's just like, wow, okay.
Just a
Can we-
normal
Lovely. They
relationship.
would probably be like the main. In all honesty, like there's really absolutely nothing, or was really nothing, grand or overly cute or like that got Hori and Miyamura together. The only difference is that we spent all that time following those two.
True. I mean, I don't disagree.
Yeah, but
there's some payoff there, right?
Yeah, because you spend so much time with them, it becomes interesting to see how they go.
And actually, we don't even spend that much time, to be honest, like because it's pretty clear they're a couple.
Yeah, like
by
5
episode
episodes in.
Well, I mean, it's pretty clear they're a couple by like episode 1.
Yeah. Because Hori literally tells him that it's like, I don't give a shit about what anyone else thinks. I want to be you're the one who's special to me. I decide that. End of episode 1.
So, Sheila, you remember what Pory just described, the flashback, that backstory? What is? I mean, you've read the manga, so it might be different. But what in that backstory appealed so much to you then, or is that something that you didn't like either?
It's the very fact alone that I know people who got together in similar ways. It's like, oh yeah, this is how it happens. That's cute.
Right, so it's a very personal.
It's just I just like how it's how down to earth it is. It's there's no big romantic, like no endless, like all of these high school tropes, all of these falling in love tropes in anime get on my nerves so much. The endless blushes and stuttering, and this is how couples have to act, or this is how the getting together has to act. When this is a very easy situation of two people, like one person crushing on someone and actually taking measures to get there, and the other person being like completely and utterly oblivious about it until like it's literally hit in their face. Couples like that have existed. Couples like that have
Sheila,
happened.
have you seen Surai Children?
Not yet, no. It's on my list though.
Okay, yeah. That show is what you're describing, but better.
All right.
That show is that is what you're describing, but it does it like how
I
I
have
would imagine
heard
it should
very,
be
very
done
good
well.
things about Suradura Children, so
Yeah.
I believe that.
I've seen like one scene of it. Was pretty funny.
Yeah, that show's very cute though.
All of the couples in Horinya, it's all very down to earth, and every single character, how they crush on people or how they are in relationships with people, not just romantic relationships, but friendship relationships, rivalry relationships, apprehensive relationships. They're all very attuned to characters, and so no dynamic is the same as anyone else, and not in the in the crazy out there way as it is in One Piece or Fairy Tail, but just in a very down to earth, real and natural way.
So I remember after actually watching footage of Horimiya, not the actual show, but like snippets here and there, I remembered that I'd actually read the start of the manga way back. But I never really got far into it. The only thing I remember is the feeling that it was alright, but I didn't really... Maybe I'm just not much of a romance guy, but it didn't feel any kind of a special story. So what sets this story apart from the many of the other romance stories that are are forgotten?
About it, I think it's all about the fact that it's down to earth and they keep it real. The people who write this obviously know how human beings act, and in a landscape where romance is filled with the same tropes, the same doki doki heartbeats, the same, endless blushing and stuttering and falling over your own feet, the same God knows what other weird ass tropes there are that I'm so sick of at this point. Horimiya is refreshingly normal. It's what I keep saying. It's just people being people, and if you do that right, that's really all you need.
And what is
And Horimiya does that exactly right. It is a show about people being people.
And what is your what appeal do you see in the main relationship in Horimiya, Pory?
Again?
In the main I'm a big fan of the the two halves of a whole, they complete each other kind of stuff. That's really I'm a big fan of that.
So just that kind that they don't.
No,
I don't think so. Because the way I see it, they're both, whole people that they complement each other, sure. But there's no, two halves of a whole. They're just two people who are already complete in the way they are. Getting together not because they need to, because they do complete each other, but getting together because they just want to.
I don't think so. I think because with Miyamura, he's got like the low self-esteem, kind of super introverted kind of thing, and but Hori pulls him out of his shell and makes him realize he makes him realize how how beautiful he is. And
but then I realized that Miyamura was already on the on the path of coming out of his shell thanks to Shindo. So that would have happened anyways. It might have taken a bit longer. It might have been a bit different, but it would have happened.
No, I think he felt pretty bad that he didn't go to the same school. I think that kind of kicked him down a peg. I mean, yeah, if he stayed with Shindo, I would agree with you. But I think them not being together anymore really stunted his progress.
I don't know if I agree with that. But that's speculation. There's absolutely no way to know.
Yeah. I mean, there's an alternate timeline where he gets together with Shindo.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously not as gloomy as he was in middle school already in episode 1. So as far as I can tell, he was already on the right path, and probably would have taken a bit longer, maybe quite a bit longer. But I'm fairly certain he would have gotten there.
And then Hori, she's like the ideal girl or whatever, but she doesn't want people to know that she's actually like a super
devoted housewife.
Yeah. But and then Miyamura's like, you know what? Who gives a fuck? Just do whatever you want. Lol. And then that's it.
I mean, doesn't she already?
Well, I mean, she does, but she doesn't really. She thinks it's like weird that she is not.
Right. She doesn't want people to know.
Yeah.
Because
right.
image.
Right. So both people needed to be told something in order to get their lives a little better.
Not really, because Hori never really gets over that, as far as I can tell. Like even at this point in the manga, I mean, the plot line of keeping things secret is kind of dropped, but in the manga, I don't think anyone outside of Miyamura actually knows that Hori is basically a housewife in disguise.
That's a spoiler.
Well, it's actually. Well, I
it's
guess
first episode. What the fuck?
Well, I mean.
I mean, the rest of the manga, no one is going to find out. That's kind of.
I mean, I'll put spoiler warnings up. I often do, so sure. Why not?
You spoiled Pory.
What? I mean, one of many things don't happen. I don't know if that's a spoiler.
I don't know.
While Miyamura definitely has come out of his shell, and has gotten more comfortable, and has done his look backs. In the end, he's still the same cutie himbo that he was in the beginning, only a little bit more comfortable in his own skin. So none of them have anything told. Miyamura was basically just pulled into Hori's little popular world because he became her friend, so all of her friends became his friend as well, and were like, hey, you're pretty cool, we don't mind hanging out with you. And it just went from there, and that's kind of what pulled him out of his shell more than just Hori herself. I think. And Hori, Hori just stays herself. She finds more aspects of herself, and discovers and learns more about herself as teenagers do, being with Miyamura. But it's not so much about anybody being told anything. It's just the two of them being together, complementing each other, and being good for one another. And that's that has nothing to do with being two halves of a whole. I find that's just every healthy romance ever. That's also another thing that is very special about Miyamoto, is the fact that the romance is healthy. There aren't a lot of healthy romances out there, which is kind of sad. Not in
There's a
anime,
joke
anyways.
in I think in episode 7 where Hori's like, "Damn, I wish you were more violent."
Oh, oh my god, that is not a one-off gag. Let's put it that way. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
That is very funny.
She does discover her masochistic side.
Yeah, sub Hori is pretty funny.
Yep. And Miyamoto is like, depending on the situation, it's like his reactions to it are even more hilarious.
Are there any other shows that you've watched that are worth mentioning? Like there's a lot airing, but
yeah, I mean that's true. That's always true. I don't know. I guess I'll talk about this show, this Mushoku Tensei show. Because this show, I actually want to ask, like, Speedy, you've like read whatever it is, the light novel, manga, the visual novel, the newspaper.
It's been years, but I have read the manga up to a certain point. When did you go? Okay, this is like too rapey. I'm gonna stop reading.
It gets rapey. Fuck.
Rapey. I don't think I was very preoccupied with that kind of stuff back then.
Okay. Okay, maybe you didn't get it. Because like the reason I liked it immediately is because I was like, wow, it's a isekai with a pervy main character, which makes sense because he's a fucking otaku, so it's fine.
Yeah.
That doesn't just like, who doesn't just like chase children around. And I was like, wow, they actually did make him chase children around. But now he's chasing children around, so I'm very upset.
Oh, the redhead kid?
Yeah.
The
thing that annoys me the most, though, is how well it creates a situation where it would be justified for him to chase children around.
He's the teacher, right? He's the teacher of the kid.
Yeah, well, he's technically younger than them, but yeah, he's the tutor. Yeah. Yeah, because so in this show, the way that this reincarnation works is like you kind of, your consciousness kind of, you're affected by the kid basically. So one of them is like he learns really fast because he's a child, and so like some of his subconscious is like changed by being a child. Okay, so it makes sense that like he would also inherit like the sexual desires of a growing boy. But that right. The second thing is also it's a medieval world, so their life expectancy is like 25, so they need to have children early. And then the third one, and that means all the adults are like, he's like 10 years old, but they're like, you gotta get married, because you're gonna die when you're in 10 years.
30, yeah.
So all the adults are like spurring him on, and because of that, the girls are into it too, because they're like, I'm gonna die in 10 years. I need to, get down.
It's such a gray area all the time. That kind of stuff.
Because I mean, because he kind of has this genius strategy when he like reincarnates, that he's like, all right, well, I probably shouldn't, have sex with children, but what I can do is I can be, well, he's like, I don't know if I would say it. It's kind of like grooming, but on the flip side, it's just what attraction is. Because he's like, okay, if I just be a good person, they'll be attracted to me, and so then I can have sex with them. So I guess he is grooming, because he's like, But from the girl's perspective,
well,
he's
really,
just
you manipulate the girl into liking you rather than working on yourself to.
Well, no, but his way of doing that is just be good, be a good person.
Yeah, that's not that. I wouldn't call that grooming. Really, I would not.
But, I mean, he is. It kind of isn't in that kind of light, but he is being a nice person for. I mean, not for the sole reason, but for like one of the reasons being that he wants to have sex with them eventually.
Okay. Question this way: are they just pretending to be nice to get their attention, or are they actually working on themselves
Well,
to become a better person?
well, he's not working on himself, but
Or just
from the
pretending?
point he was born till this point in the story, he has acted as a well, a well-behaved child would. So, because all of it for him, all of it is, I'm reincarnated, so I'm gonna like maximize my life in this world that is pretty easy to understand because it's a
because he didn't before, because he was just a NEET that stayed in his room all day and that.
So immediately there was a gray area there because it's like he is trying to manipulate people, but the girls just think he's a good guy. So I'm like, this seems wrong, but I can't figure out why it feels wrong because.
Yeah, but is he still like actually the douchebag, the same douchebag
Well,
NEET inside?
in
that he
his
was
brain
before?
he is, because he's like, wow, if I am a good person, I can have sex. But nobody else knows that, obviously, because they can't read his mind.
My is like, is he still the same douchebag that he was before?
Oh yeah,
Because,
definitely.
yeah, he's gonna think that, but is he thinking and evaluating things the same way that he did before, or is him
Definitely.
acting like a good person actually making him become a good person, or does he actually
No.
want to become a good person?
No, he's like, I'm a good person because it means that I get the best outcome.
I'm not entirely. You know what? I have to.
To
I'm
me,
not
it feels like
understanding what I'm
okay. Let me
asking.
give you an example. Okay, let's say someone donates to charity
Mhm.
for the reason that they get to feel good that they donate to charity.
I mean,
Was
that's
donating to
literally
charity a good thing?
That's literally a reason why everybody donates to charity.
Exactly. But it's like I wouldn't say, "Wow, what a dickhead! They donated to charity."
Just to feel good about themselves.
Like I'm like, yeah. If it like, let's imagine right now that every like bad guy in the world all decided, oh, if I'm really nice, I'll have sex.
I mean,
That's a
then
good
would
thing.
become like the world would become exactly the world will become a better person.
Exactly. Well, no, I mean,
everybody is nice to get something out of it, even if it's just a feeling of validation.
I mean, I agree.
I mean,
I
at
agree.
which point?
That's just humans being humans.
I mean, everyone is being nice to get. Sometimes being nice to get other people to do stuff. Sometimes it's genuine. Other times it's not so genuine. I mean, the fact that it pertains children in this case is kind of
that's the problem.
That is kind of the
because I was like, I thought that he wouldn't chase anyone until he was like 16, 18, whatever. But now he's like actually actively like chasing people, and he's like 10 years old. I'm like, oh, so this whole setup was completely irrelevant.
This is my biggest problem with any kind of reincarnation stories, whether it be isekai or otherwise. It's when a grown-up adult dies and grows up in the body of a child. Oftentimes, the authors go into a gray area of the kid who is actually an adult being attracted to other children, and like, where does this fall on the this is kind of creepy scale?
But I've never seen a show where they try to like they really go hard on justifying how it makes sense in the story.
Yeah, they always leave it a bit out in the open. The same thing with like Erased. Like, Erased was a
the one in Erased doesn't make any sense.
A little bit of comedy on it. On like, I really should not be crushing this. There's something wrong here.
But like with Erased,
yes.
There was no like, he just like fell in love, whatever that means. But in this show, it's like there are all these reasons that it makes sense that he would be in love. So it's less weird, or is it more weird? I don't understand.
In love, or is he just in it for the sex?
Well, the character is, but like, I'm trying to assess the author at this point. Like,
yeah,
what is the point? Like, is it weirder that you would create an environment where it makes sense that they are attracted to children, or is it less weird?
Is the author trying to justify a desire, or did the author write it like this? It was oh shit,
this makes sense in this world. Yeah.
It's. I mean,
it's really weird.
It would be like guessing at the author's.
Though I will say, I think apparently it gets like very, very rapey in the book or whatever. So Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can usually kind of tell from there are always undertones where, you can kind of tell where this is going. Because remember in the very first episode, we talked about all of these, reincarnated into an Entoma game worlds, the offspring of reincarnated as a villainous. Do you guys remember that?
I remember that. Yes, very much.
Yeah, so in all of those, at least in all of the ones where sometimes it's just like a straight up fantasy world that kind of looks like Renaissance France or whatever, but most of them are reincarnated, and so you basically have girls who died as middle-aged women falling in love when they get reincarnated as teenagers with other people their own age, but you can kind of tell that there was no bad intention there because there are like no underlying creepy undertones, and usually there's not even any mention of sex or anything, and usually more often than not it's like the male lead chasing after the female lead, and the female lead kind of needing to be won over. So it's kind of obvious that it's really just tropey rather than rapey or having any undertones of I don't know of like age gaps or inappropriateness or whatever you want to call it. And then there are others like in the Made the Abyss manga where you can totally tell, oh shit, this was made for pedophiles or from a pedophile, wasn't it?
Yeah, but there's not even an age gap there, so that's.
Speedy, have you read the manga? Like,
No,
there's no age gap, but like that manga is 100% definitely
I think you've mentioned that before. Yeah.
From pedophiles for pedophiles. There is no doubt about it.
I mean, I always feel it's I don't know how to feel about it, and usually it gets me a little uncomfortable when they try to set up an adult in a child's body with a child, either romance wise, even when they don't include the whole sex part, right? So, like for example in Lady Baby, which is a manhwa which I read for like 30 chapters. It's nice, it's fine, but then there's the communities around these kinds of manga are just they're so how do I say this? They really care about the romance between these two children, one of which is not actually a child. Usually the author always tries to hint at something going on, and I really like the reincarnated as a child thing because I like the whole idea of the trope where a character is seen as weak but actually isn't is one of my favorite tropes. And
yeah, Musho's Tensei does it as well. Yeah,
reincarnated as a child kind of stuff, it just breeds that kind of story material. So I love the idea. It brings a lot of cool moments. But many of the manga that do this also go into the whole romance stuff with children, and I'm just it just makes me very uncomfortable.
But the other thing is, there are only two other possibilities that I can think of if you want to bring romance in there at all, and that is to have someone fall in love with somebody who is the same age mentally as them.
Yes.
Which let's just say they die at 35, and then
one thing I can
yeah,
think
by
of
the time that they're 10,
yeah.
they should be falling in love with somebody who's 45. If that person were to love them back, that would be even creepier.
One thing that I can think of in that one is, for example, Detective Conan. Not that it's the main couple, but Aihibara and Detective Conan are technically in that area exactly. Same age, but also both age regressed.
Right.
I think like,
the other thing is
Pory,
the other possibility is
like okay, with what you just said, I agree, and I think, but like with like Musho Tensei, I think they were like trying to figure it out how the dynamic should work by having him, have this grand scheme to have all the girls be attracted to him when they are of age. But then they just dropped the ball completely and was like, actually, I'm just gonna have him be attracted to 12-year-olds instead. So I don't know.
The second option is, and I'm like so mad that no I don't. At this point, I haven't seen a single, being reincarnated story, and that's the main reason why I dropped reincarnated as a villainess almost immediately when I read it. Is that there's not a single one where the predominant personality is that of the reincarnated child. It's all you're still the person you were in your last life, now only in a different body, rather than being a new person with memories of your last life.
Mm-hmm.
That is so much more interesting. Why does nobody do that?
I mean,
In
the appeal
Villainous,
of
it's so
isekai.
bad that she lives her entire life as somebody else, and then how old was she, 10 or something? She gets that knock on her head, regains her memories, and immediately turns into a different person. That turned me off immediately because I'm like, no, that's not how this works. If anything, she
does. I think she was just stupid from the beginning.
Well, she was stupid from the beginning, but that's not a reason to do a completely 180 on her actual personality that she had spent 10 plus years building up.
Oh, right. When she's like, oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that is a bit dumb. But I think the problem is that I don't think this story, unless you were to write it, would never be written, because the appeal of isekai.
And you know what? In that case, I'm gonna fucking write it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start that tomorrow. I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna write that story.
The appeal of isekai is that you get to use what you've learned and the skills you have from your other life, no matter how useful or completely irrelevant they are, in this other place where what is valued is completely different. And so, you get to justify being really good at military tactics because now you're in a world with knights and stuff, so that's really useful. But when you're working a day job, that isn't very useful.
Don't do that. But imagine, right? You are an actual child, right? You have the mentality of, let's say, a 10-year-old with the memories of somebody who has already lived.
Oh, that
50
show exists. It's
plus years
called
of their
Bookworm. It's
lives.
rubbish.
Huh?
That show exists. It's called Bookworm, and it's really boring and not fun to watch at all. It's really silly.
Oh, I hear only the best things about Bookworm.
No, that's true. No,
I still have to watch it though.
No,
but yeah, I want a story like that, where the dominant personality is still that of a child, using all of that knowledge and that skill, that they remember from their previous life. How is that not amazing?
Oh wait, but when you mentioned Bookworm, you mean Ascendance of a Bookworm?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I watched that. That was pretty fun.
No, it's completely.
I told you, you cannot trust Pory's taste.
It's.
How many times do I have to say it?
I haven't thought about it critically.
Jack and Core agree with me, so I must be right.
I haven't thought about it critically, but it was pretty fun to watch.
No,
and the last episode took quite a bit of a turn, but I love that kind of.
In the last episode, doesn't she go Super Saiyan?
Yeah, she does. But
okay,
don't spoil too much for Sheila. I do want to, before we move on, because we've been talking nearly 50 minutes about anime, free anime. One show I do want to mention that, because I was talking about all the reincarnated as a child shows doing the romance thing. One show, or rather, a webcomic that has this exact trope of reincarnated as a child in a fantasy universe that doesn't seem to want to do the romance between children at all. One being an actual adult is The Beginning After the End, which is one, really good, and two, while there are other characters around the main character's age, and you could technically, as a person, want to ship them, the author does never really try to set them up as a romantic interest, which is something I greatly appreciate in such a story. So, as a reincarnated as a child story, it's the best out there. But it's by an American, so it's not even a manga or a manhwa or whatever. It's but do read it. The beginning after the end. Yeah, let's move on because time. Sheila, what have you been watching?
I have been watching. I'll start with the boring ones. I've watched an anime called Handa-kun, which is like a prequel to Barakamon.
I've heard that it's not. It doesn't pack quite the same punch as Barakamon.
It was literally boring as shit. After the first, I watched half an episode of it and gave it my full attention. I think I got 10 minutes in, And then I went downstairs to the common area, took out all of my drawing materials, and I just let it run in the background while I was doing artwork.
Yeah, I would
And the
stop
same
at the
actually
point.
happened to Food Wars season 5. Food Wars, I at least got through 2 episodes or something before I lost interest, and then I just let it run in the background while I was drawing or
Right.
storyboarding or whatever.
I would ask you more about Food Wars season 5 if we had the time, but let's move on to the interesting stuff then.
The more interesting stuff, I watched Kaguya-sama.
Right, with the best girl of the year according to Crunchyroll this time around.
I did not like. Okay, hot take. I really, really don't like Chika. She's an annoying little.
Wait, no, the main character won.
Yeah, the main character was best girl. Turned out to be best girl.
Hey, all that matters is not a rent-a-girlfriend character that won the award.
Yeah, the one Giga wanted.
Okay, but that was best girl this season. I haven't watched season 2 yet. I'm still on season 1. I just watched season 1.
Right.
In season 1, I don't know.
I mean, who else is gonna be the random one-off character that comes in for a love advice? I don't think so. Or I guess the butler character. She's pretty hot.
I mean, in all honesty, what I enjoyed most, it wasn't nowhere near, to me at least, it was nowhere near as entertaining as, everybody made it out to be, but it was entertaining enough to keep my attention at least. And I agree with Giga, Ishigami best girl. That was a comment that he
the emo
said
kid?
Huh? The emo kid. I love Ishigami.
No,
He's so
I think the
wonderfully
butler is the
wacky.
best girl. I think the butler is the best girl.
But yeah, I mostly watched for the ridiculous situations that could happen and the way things would escalate in the weirdest possible ways. Not so much for the characters, because aside from Ishigami, none of them were really all of that interesting or
yeah, that's true.
appealing. It was really mostly the weirdness and hilarity and out there-ness of how things would escalate in this stupid situation they get themselves into, and the escalation basically is what I watched it for, and that was fun enough. Also, the intro, man, the intro is so fun. I it's one of the few times when I really watched the intro every single time, and every single time it captured my attention more than the actual show did.
Does it?
Yes.
Does it get better? Because my problem with Kaguya was the whole the gag got old after 2 or 3 episodes of they are both tsunderes.
They don't use the same gag. They don't use the same gag throughout the entirety.
So at a certain point they drop that they are both tsunderes, but they don't want to confess to one another thing.
No, that stays, right?
Right.
But it's not the focus.
That
got pretty old pretty fast for me.
But that's not the point. The point is that I'm making is that's
and I like tsunderes.
That is character traits that's character traits that they have. Both of them have, and the characters, character traits that stay. But the way they're used is different. It's not the focus anymore. They're just kind of maybe they're their plans is what sets off the plot, but they're never after the first 3 episodes or so, their tsundere-ness is not the focus of whatever episode it happens anymore.
Right.
It's just an element that is there.
Right. I should maybe watch more than 3 episodes of that then. Give it another try. Because everyone seems to be applauding the show all the time.
I mean, I think I noticed that it was kind of just repetitive on episode 11 or 12. I was like, one season is a really good length for this show because I'm fed up of this whole dynamic after the end of season 1. And then season 2 is literally the exact same thing. So I dropped season 2.
Same, that really sucks because it did seem things had changed after the finale of the first season. At the very least, the dynamic had changed a little bit, even if
the
dynamic between the 2 of them should have changed.
In classic, romance fashion, they didn't hear or they, whatever.
Oh, I hate that so much. I love when they subvert it. Like in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, they subvert it.
But none of them really confessed or anything.
Yeah, I mean,
but really that happened.
I think I've only seen 3 episodes, obviously, of season 2. But I think in episode 1 of season 2, they're wow, this whole thing happened, and then like they spent episode 1 trying to avoid bringing it up, and then in episode 2 they successfully avoided bringing it up because that was it. Like, now they're done.
I don't know.
Right.
I'd have to watch it to really say how it goes.
Anyway,
yeah.
next.
But it was fun as it was. Given the movie. Remember, Pory, I told you that the
I need to watch
Given
it.
movie was apparent. No.
I'm not a big
Like I
movie
know
guy,
you
but-
did, but you watched a few episodes of Given before you dropped it, and you said that the 2 university students, were interesting, and I told you that the Given movie was apparently about the university students. I watched it, and it is actually about the 2 university students, and it's pretty freaking good.
Right.
That's
I'm
a
unfortunately not a big
recommendation.
movie guy, but
Hey,
I'll
me
try it.
too.
You both suck, if you ask me.
What? Okay,
Movies
real
are
quick,
great.
Why? What's your reason for not liking movies?
They're too long. I don't want to watch.
Yeah,
I don't wanna watch-
he agrees.
Speedy, you watch stuff. You watch whole shows in a row. That's the same thing as watching like 3 movies.
No. That's what Sheila said too. No, the real reason why I don't like movies is because you're supposed to be watching them all at once, right? You're setting yourself up for a big time sink.
So you don't like being reminded that you're wasting time. Is that it? Like, what is your point?
My point is like the difference between watching 2.5 hours of a movie or 2.5 hours of a series, an anime series, is that when I start, I can stop after 20 minutes. Whereas when I watch a movie, I feel obligated to finish the movie.
That's some kind of weird like post-rationalization about how much time you've
Absolutely
wasted.
agree. That's what I've been saying.
No, it
Because,
makes
Speedy,
so
you're
much
a
sense
ginger.
in my
When you start a
mind.
series,
When I
you
watch a
have to
movie,
not
okay,
just
look, I'll give you an
finish
example,
it in one
Speedy, because
go.
Speedy, you aren't going all the way. When I watched what's the movie? What's the Ghibli movie? What's Yamada-kun? Is
Oh.
that what it's called? The one about the people who live in a house. What does that means nothing. It's a bunch of gags, and it's like just a bunch of people like living their life in their house. I can't remember.
That
what
does
it's
not sound like a Ghibli movie.
No, it's the other director whose name I can't remember.
Which one? There are so many of them. Makoto Shinkai, Mamoru Hosoda.
Anyway, directors be damned.
Yeah, whatever. It's like that. I took a nap but I watched that movie after three things. One of those gaps was I took a nap. Okay, Speedy, you've got to be willing to just cut a movie.
I need to. When I enter a movie, you get into a certain mindset, and the movie is designed around keeping that mindset going, right? To keep you in that feeling, that flow of watching the movie, and it wants to bring you somewhere, right? It's a journey. That's, at least I think, movies are supposed to do that to people. But shows, anime, are set up in such a way that there is a forced intermission every 20 minutes. So like there is a good jumping off point for when I want to stop. Right? So when I want to watch...
Most of the time, they're not even good intermissions. They're
No,
just
but they
there.
are at least
and they're
designed
literally
so.
designed to make you click the next episode as fast as possible.
It depends. If it's good, yes. If it's not good, no. But when I watch a...
Most may do that, unless they're like episodic shows.
I mean, if it tries to do that, but I don't like the show, I can just stop, and I have a good rationalization.
Just drop
for
the movie.
why.
Yeah, I drop movies all the time. I watch 30 minutes of the Escaflowne movie and then stop watching. It's that easy. You just stop. You just turn it off. You just click. You
Like
go on your browser. You press X.
You can watch in like most anime. You can watch in like one go. Like if you were to just skip the opening or if you were to cut out the openings and the endings and like literally just put them against each other in a program like Premiere Pro, you would have like a 5 to 6 hour movie. That's like pretty much most of the anime out there.
In fact, there are some movies that are also films, like the Animatrix. You could watch that in 7 episodes, or you can watch it as a movie.
But
it's like designed that way.
I can't watch a movie. At least I don't want to watch a movie over 3 months and watch 20 minutes every several days.
That sounds like, cry more, please. Like that's such a not problem.
Question. I have a quick question for you, Speedy. You said you're fine with watching them episode by episode. So, one movie is apparently of, I don't know, 40 episodes, right? It's approximately like what, 4-5 episodes, something along those lines.
Yeah.
You'd be cool with like watching 4 episodes if they were cut up, right?
Depends on the show.
Yeah. Not in one go, just in general.
What do you mean?
Would
Like,
you want?
not
Is
in
your
one go.
question just-
Just 4 episodes of a show in general. That's good.
Wait, so you're asking him,
Yes.
would you watch 4 episodes of a show?
Yes.
What the fuck? What kind of question is that?
Yes, yes, I would.
Right.
Yeah, why would
So
you watch 3 episodes? Why drop it?
what if that exact same good show, was cut 2 different ways? One in the format of a movie, one in 4 episodes, and they both exist.
I wouldn't watch the movie. I would watch the series.
So what's stopping you from cutting up the movie into 4 episodes?
Because movies are designed in a different way. Movies
No,
are
literally not. It's literally the exact same thing. Only one is cut into episodes and one is cut into one
then
movie.
it's not a good
You know,
movie because it's
Speedy,
partitioned.
have you ever watched a movie?
It is a
Have you
good
ever watched a
because
movie
most
on
anime,
TV
it looks
before?
exactly like that.
I have, yes, Pory.
Okay, do you know there are ads between it?
Yes, but they
So
they
okay,
never
Speedy,
flow correctly
Speedy,
because
if you were watching the Titanic on TV and an ad played, would you be willing to pause your television and go like do whatever and then come back and finish watching?
yes, but that's
So you
no,
I don't
that's
believe you.
different. That's different because
So you're just asking for somebody
movie
to cut
isn't-
it for you.
a movie isn't
If I-
created with ads in mind.
Okay, Speedy, let's say you said tomorrow I'm going to watch the Curious George movie, the greatest movie of all time. If I cut that, if I made a pause somewhere in there, would you be willing to stop watching?
No,
Why not?
I wouldn't because
That's the same thing as an ad. It's
because
literally the same thing.
No, because it wasn't. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't designed
But
that
you just
way.
said you would be willing to stop if an ad came on.
Yes, because I am watching it already at that point, so I have to finish it. But if I
No,
was
what?
told to start watching it, I wouldn't
Sheila,
do it.
is he like making sentences that make sense? Because I feel like he's.
Oh, he's not. Because Speedy, what you
Okay.
don't understand is most anime, unless they're like literally, episodic anime, they are literally not created for episodes. They create, the entirety of the plot, and then see how much of that they can, or how to pace that to fit that into 12 episodes. Right? They basically, okay, we need that much runtime. That's how we're gonna do it, and then they just cut it up. It's the same as watching nothing but like a super length movie with random breaks in between after every 20 minutes, and you're cool with that.
Listen, I don't know why I feel like this. All I know is that I do, and I'm trying. This is probably the reason why.
Okay, so then if to take a movie,
Sorry,
you
you're
would
cutting out
never
too
know
much.
that
at
it's
this point.
actually. You would never know that it's actually a movie because you've never heard of it before. Let's say something like, I don't know, Drive, because everybody knows Drive except for you because you don't know movies.
Yes.
What's
I would
Drive?
cut that up
Wait,
into.
what's Drive? What's Drive?
I were to cut that up into 20 minutes, put an ending and a beginning, to everyone and say, hey, let's watch this series. Would you be down for that?
Yes.
So you'd be
I
watching
guess.
a movie with me, except you didn't know that it was a movie. Do you see
But,
how little
okay,
sense
yes,
you're making
yes,
here?
yes. But if I didn't like it, I would stop at like 1/5 of the movie.
And what's stopping you from doing that at literally any movie ever?
It doesn't feel like that's not the point of a movie. A movie, once you start it, you have to finish it. It feels different.
don't.
Movies feel different. Movies feel.
No!
It's like what?
It's like it's the same thing with
Are
like,
you the kind of? Are you the
feeling
kind of?
obligated to watch anime he doesn't like just because he doesn't want to jump shows? That's the
Would
same
you-
level of logic here.
Would you leave a cinema 20 minutes in if you didn't like the movie you're watching?
I literally have done that on several
Would
times.
But then I'd feel bad about spending money.
Yes,
I'd probably,
exactly. You're
But
spending
you don't
money.
spend money to watch a film at your computer.
How? No,
I
you
guess you
do.
spend that
My
surely.
Netflix.
Especially if
I
it's on
pay.
Netflix.
I mean, I pay for Netflix anyway.
Well, you could just
so-
put a different thing on. When you go to the cinema, you can't just be like, "Oh, this movie really sucks. I'm gonna go to Cinema 3 instead."
I mean, I have
mean,
done.
I've
I
actually
have
done
done it.
that.
I have done it. I just feel silly. I mean, it's the same thing for like 1 hour's a 1 hour episode series. It's the same thing on Netflix. I feel like I'm signing up for such a big time sink that I feel
Yeah.
like I'm not sure whether I'm
Okay,
spending
Speedy.
my time in the best way possible.
Do you understand what you're saying is completely ridiculous and doesn't make any sense?
Apparently, because no one else feels the way I do. So,
Pory, do you understand that this ridiculousness is the same ridiculousness as you not wanting to drop shows just because you feel bad over dropping shows?
I'm really no. I feel bad about a show that I feel like has something about it that is good, but it's like maybe next episode it fulfills its promise that this is what's going to make it good, or maybe it won't do that, and I can't like. I'm down to drop shows that have like no hook or nothing about them that would be like, wow, this could be really good. But if a show has something, I want to know if that something is, it sprouts and becomes why the show's good, right?
You literally watching a whole bunch of like really bad anime because you feel bad about dropping like 50 shows. You have
well, yeah, that's true. Because but that's because I'm like a victim of this stupid tracking website that gives me a red number. That's not something. That's nothing to do with shows. That's not to do with my internet points. And I think
But it's a ridiculous concept. It's the same,
Yeah, I know. Being addicted to internet points is irrational. I agree.
And probably my idea of not wanting to watch movies is also irrational. Because
it is very irrational.
When I do watch a movie and it's
whenever, if you don't like it, just don't finish it. Period.
I mean, when I do watch a movie and I like it, I'm like, okay, glad I watched it. Like the movies that I did like in the past years. Soul was okay.
What do you mean it was okay? Soul was fucking great.
Soul was okay. No. Okay is an understatement. Soul was fine.
Wow, what an improvement!
Just a little better. Fine is better than okay. I think. I feel.
Soul is amazing. Fuck you.
No. Like, it was all around good, but I didn't take anything crazy away from it. If not for the fact that you wanted me to think about it later on, I probably would never have done so. So yeah, it's and like it had like one message that it really wanted to bring across, which is something that like I don't really think I needed to hear that message anyway, and I feel like I got what the message was. I got that down pat. And it's like I should balance my life out the other way. Soul is a movie about a guy that wants to get the best out of life and wants to achieve many, many big goals. And I'm not going to go deep into the plot of the series, but he meets another person who is more along the lines of, well, he doesn't really know what his goal in life is. And the message of the movie is living alone is a goal in and of itself, and it's fine to enjoy life as it is and not always having to strive for something beyond yourself. Like enjoying the little moments is fine too. And like that's all I do. That's all of my life. All I do is just enjoy the moment, and I feel like I need to balance that out. I feel like,
isn't it nice to be reminded of that next to all of the larger than life anime of like going for the biggest goal?
I feel like
it's
really.
Very, very important.
I felt catered to. Not that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I did feel catered to, and maybe the better way is I felt pampered by this movie. It was trying to tell me something when I know that I already have this down, and I need to balance it out the other way. So, like, it's leading too much into this movie and being like, oh, yes, finally, I have been vindicated. I was right all along. I feel like saying that would be ignoring the fact that I need to strive more to do things with my life and get goals. So, the message didn't really speak to me all that much. That's all I took away from it, and the rest of it was a beautiful movie. The music was beautiful. The animation, as expected of Pixar, was phenomenal.
The set design.
So I mean, we could go into that so much, but it for some reason it was fine for me. It was a fine, nice way to spend my time. That's
Speedy,
yes.
tell me one other show, movie, book, whatever it may be that says that gives you that exact same message. Name me one. I dare you.
Yashike in general.
No, Yashike don't give you that message. Yashike leans into the feeling of it, but it's not about that message. It's not telling you it's okay to just do it.
Yeah, I mean, a message doesn't have to be subtle or said to be there. When I take away the same thing from an Yashike, that's the same thing as being told that something is such.
But Iyashike, that's not what Iyashike are about per se.
No, but you can take away something like that.
I never asked why you can't take away something. I asked what movie tells you that message.
Okay, no, I don't. What is the what? So.
So my point is that in a world where pretty much every single media, or like the vast majority of media, which is all about reach for that goal that is larger than life, work hard, how does that song go? Harder, better, faster, stronger. Having a movie go out of its way to tell you that, hey, slow down, it's okay to just be alive once in a while, is incredibly, ridiculously important.
So it's special in what it does and what it tells. That's all it is to you?
That's a big part of it. That's not all it is to me, but you literally just said you don't want to go into the rest of it,
True, but I feel like it being special doesn't mean being good. It just means you've done something that very few others have done before, which can.
Well, I showed you that it's because you lived that life, right? And everything around you keeps telling you, including me, keeps telling you you have to do better.
Yes, and I agree
with that. So I thought it would important for you, and I thought it would be important for you, or like nice
the way,
to have you
no. Okay, so the way
you're doing fine.
You should see it like the way I see this is like when someone is an amazing alcoholic, right? And they're ruining their lives on alcohol. And everyone tells them, dude, you should stop drinking. You should stop drinking. And then someone comes up to me, a complete alcoholic, is like, here is a movie all about why drinking is good. And I'm supposed to be like, oh, so drinking is good. This is what I need to hear, right? I feel like my lifestyle is so out of balance. Hearing
you really
this,
think you're that self-destructive?
I mean, it's an extreme example, of course. Alcoholism.
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything self-destructive about your lifestyle.
It's an extreme example. It's not destructive. It's out of balance, and I feel like I need to lean more towards. Well, I need to lean more towards a different balance. To strive and choose a goal and actually chase that goal and revel in it and not give up on trying to achieve something. So, because I am almost maxed out on just living life and just letting life choose what happens to me. That's kind of how I live right now. That's just me, and I feel like that's how it felt to me. I felt pampered by this movie. It was a movie that was telling me that. I mean, it was telling an important message. I'm not saying that.
What you're doing is okay. That's perfectly fine. That's all you need. Why is that so wrong? Why is that so pampering?
I feel like you need a balance. It's like enjoying the little things in life is fine, but picking a goal and going for it, so to speak, is also pretty important. Like you need to do both things. And
I don't think you do.
I think it's important to strive to improve oneself and not linger on how you are in the moment and not
that it is. I agree. It's always important to want to improve yourself.
Yes.
That's true.
And I feel like that's I don't do that nearly enough. Not to the degree that I should. But I mean, Do you have any closing statements on this? Because this is turned into something completely different. I'm not sure if we'll even get to the fashion part. Do you have any closing? Pory?
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 Oh no,
No, I'm
again.
good.
We thought we lost you again.
That'd be hilarious for like the last 15 minutes. I just wasn't here. That'd be pretty funny.
No, I was mostly asking Sheila that, like, do you have any closing statements towards this? Because I've been going off all on my own. Otherwise, we could just continue with the next thing you've been watching. Or did you want to say more about where did it start? The Given movie.
Watch it.
Watch it.
Although it does get a bit comfortable at times because it has a character who, goes through a lot of emotions and really doesn't know how to handle them and makes some really, not stupid, but like bad, destructive, I should say, make some destructive decisions because of that. And watching that is hard at times. Yeah, it's not the kind of you want to scream at the character to stop being so stupid. It's the kind of, oh my god, I feel for you, baby, but please stop. You don't know what you're doing to yourself kind of a moment. So that's Given has that, which is, it's the thing.
Right.
I've watched the newest season of Haikyuu, To the Top Part 2, which, I mean, it's Haikyuu. I actually don't really like the new art style and the new animation so much. Like, how do I put this? The new art style does not lend itself to facial animations as expressive as the old art style did. That's my first problem. And my second problem is that the length of the arms and legs are, much more exaggerated. Everything was, like kind of somewhat semi-proportionate, at least, The heads maybe not so much because of anime, but the rest of the body definitely was. And so when they wanted to overshoot things and, extremize poses and movements, it had impact. But because in the new art style, everything is already, kind of exaggerated, especially, like with these, everybody has like really lanky arms and legs. Any animations in which they want to really lean in on this just kind of look off and wrong, and it kind of hurts my poor animator eyes a little bit. It's like, I don't know, the first 3 seasons the animation was so good. Like, I keep rewatching them today. I kept telling Speedy that the last 3 months at school we've been doing an intensive course in animation, and so my eyes have gotten very very sensitive to animation problems and animation issues, which makes it very difficult for me to watch anime because, well, animation and anime in general kind of sucks. Like, it really sucks. There isn't a lot of good animation in anime. Haikyuu, at least the first 3 seasons, was one of those shows where the animation was, mostly at least fine. Half the time it was fine, and the other half the time it was just good, if not phenomenal.
I mean, the standard is like 24 frames per second, right?
Oh, no, that's not what I meant with animation. Like, that's just movie in general.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, it's 24 frames per second. I don't mean more or less frames of animation. It's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
here.
I have no idea what I'm talking about, if you've noticed.
Wow, really? Wow.
Yeah. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, what I not to mention, that's actually, like, while it says 24 frames per second in at least stop motion and 2D animation, more often than not, you actually animate on 2s, which means 12 frames per second, because that's really all the eye needs. It's really only in the like super fluid shots where they really animate on 1s, or every frame per second.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of people don't know that, but that's actually kind of the standard even in anime. You don't really animate on 2s, you animate on 1s most of the time.
Wait, did you get that right?
Yeah, I think you got it right. You said.
Yeah, I think you got it wrong way around.
They don't animate on 1s. They animate on 2s, right?
You usually animate on 2s.
Yeah. You said it the way other way.
You said it the other way around.
Never mind.
Okay, I'm sorry. You usually animate on 2s, not on 1s. 1s you animate on if you want those, those super fluid Sakuga shots.
Right. Anything else beyond Haikyuu? Next one. Let's put it like
Gintama, the 3rd season, I think, and the Gintama movie.
Right. Anything? A lot of sequels. Anything different about Gintama? Just the same thing, right? A few
Well,
serious
you know,
arcs, a
there's
lot of
less
humor.
there's less fun filler and more serious arcs, which I'm very happy about because goddamn, the Gintama series
Yeah,
arcs are
it's
just
only going
straight
to
up amazing.
it's only going to dial back on the humor and get
Yeah, the
more
humor
serious.
still doesn't work for me. I still don't find it very funny.
Yeah, there's going to be more serious and less humor the more seasons you watch.
Thank God. The movie was great, but like, I don't think it deserves as high a rating as it does because it's like one of the highest rated things on Anime Planet. Because the last third was basically just fan service of a fan service, and I just kept rolling my eyes at
Gintama
it.
famously takes up all of the top spots because Gintama stands like right that super high. Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
once if a person makes it through 200 episodes of Gintama, and a lot of people have done that, everyone is going to rate all the extra seasons really high because they
all
love
the people
it.
that don't like it don't watch it like me.
Yeah,
like, they haven't seen it. They can't knock it down.
Yeah,
the Yoshiwara arc, like the Yoshiwara arc, is still the highlight for me. That is the only arc in Gintama that I would like rate a full 5. Everything else I would rate at the very most a 4. At most. Most of them I would rate like somewhere between a 3 and a 4.
Did you get to the Shogun assassination arc yet?
No, not yet. Like I said, the newest one that I watched is the movie. So
I don't know. It all blurs together for me, and I haven't even finished Gintama. So, but that arc is my favorite in as far as I can remember, at least.
Again, what happens, like, just really vague, what happens in the Gintama assassination arc? In the Shogun assassination arc?
I mean, there's a plot to assassinate the Shogun. That's.
Wait, is it set in like the Meiji Restoration era?
Yeah. It's like
wow.
when aliens. It's like if aliens came down during the Edo, when like Edo and stuff like that, when in feudal Japan. So like it's very wacky.
That's the newest one I watched is, I don't know if that's the Shogun assassination arc or not, but what's the one where the Shogun's, what was it, uncle or something, was I don't know, taking over, or I'm not sure what it is. I think the main plot line was bringing those two old lovers back together, and the Shogun was somehow like in the middle of it, but I don't think that's the Shogun assassination arc.
You're still gonna get there. So
yeah. Okay, I'm still gonna get there.
Next, we've got to move on. We've got like 1.5 hours, and we've not sure if we even get to the fashion part. We've had some very big introspection from me.
I've never heard of it.
Next, sorry. Hello?
Yeah, I'm just waiting.
On you.
Yeah, you can go if you want.
Oh, I thought you had more.
You're allowed to talk in this.
I thought you had more. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I
was like, okay, well, it's my turn. My turn. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a while, and I did watch quite a few things. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen. Did I mention last time that I'm watching Jujutsu Kaisen?
I think you did.
I think so.
It's still good. That's about everything I should say about it. Like everyone.
Do you think it should have won Anime of the Year? A show that hasn't finished yet.
That's a little dubious. Like I like that it won, but I feel like it should have won next year.
Okay.
If it held up against the rest.
Is Eizouken better?
I haven't finished Eizouken.
How have you not? What are you doing?
It's.
You're part of the problem. That's all.
Sorry, I've not finished Eizouken, but I'm a sucker for good shonen. So probably if they were to air in the same year, and from what I've seen the first 6 episodes of Eizouken, and if I had to compare those first 6 episodes to what I've seen of Jujutsu Kaisen would rate higher for me.
I think.
The last 3 episodes of Eizouken aren't really that good.
Yeah, the last episodes aren't that good. But I think, funnily enough, the best episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen didn't air in 2020. So if that's like
I think there were like 5 episodes out of Jujutsu Kaisen by the time 2021 rolled around.
Well, No, I think it got to the part where the kid is in the school or whatever, and
Oh, where he meets the emo kid.
no, where where the patchwork guy,
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
but the patchwork guy, yeah.
Yeah, I think it gets to there. But the best Jujutsu Kaisen episodes happen after that. So
Yeah, the best Jujutsu Kaisen episodes are in the current arc. I mean, the final fight with the patchwork guy was pretty fun, pretty cool.
I don't know.
I there were two the moments that I really liked were when what is the demon guy Sukuna, when Sukuna came in contact with the patchwork guy.
No
that
spoilers,
was
please. I haven't watched it yet.
oh fuck.
I mean, that's not a spoiler. You learn that in the first 10 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, I've been very vague so far, so it's fine.
There's a kid and there's a patchwork guy. That's all you know.
It's really good. It's like shonen with good
But it's
animation and a good story, and it doesn't it's paced rather quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
So unlike other shonen, and it doesn't drag on, and it's built well, I think, when it comes to like how the story flows.
Really fucking good looking. It's like actually...
Yes, I love the style, man. I love the style. The character designs are also. Well, I mean that's kind of a shonen thing. Like
Talking about character design. Nah, sorry. Continue.
Another thing is Hell Girl, which is I think there's like 5 seasons now. It started in like 2005.
No idea that she was so popular.
I've watched 3 episodes and then I dropped it. Hell Girl is it's an episodic show, so that it's no wonder that I didn't like it from the offset, but I did want to try it out because it has a very interesting concept. Well, not interesting concept. It has a fun concept to watch. Every episode, at least for the 3 episodes that I watched it, is set up in like 3 parts. The first part, we are introduced to new characters, which is usually a victim and a bully, or someone who is imposing violence or sadness or depression on the victim. And the victim is very miserable and isn't leading a very good life. Then there's like the second part, which is very short, is where the victim learns of a website where they can put the bully's name into a website, and they will be taken care of. Like they will be sent to hell, but as a price, the victim will also have their soul taken to hell when they die. And the third part is our main characters, which is like the Hell Girl and some other people from Hell, go and bully the bully for a while. They give him a scare and they bring him to hell. That's basically every episode. And I mean, it has a very different connotation. That's why I wouldn't want to call it revenge porn. But if revenge porn didn't exist, this would be a very different way of calling it revenge porn. But it's basically seeing a very bad person get what they deserve. That's every single episode. So I don't mind that. I think if you did it right, it would be fun. But giving each conflict and all the characters involved in the conflict 10 minutes to become something that the viewer cares about it's very little, and it's very apparent that the writers or the people making it aren't good enough to make me care about any of the conflicts, any of the characters. So the sadness falls flat on me. The bullies or the villains or whatever, it's not always that straightforward. They're not always they're a little too cartoony, and it's not like there's any kind of comedy. The show really tries to be serious, so the cartoony bullying kind of it really takes away from the conflict as well. So when the conflicts just don't feel real, is what I'm saying. It's very it's sad.
Tropey.
Sorry.
Tropey.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. It's very sad to see something that could be good, not be good. Maybe it would be better if it took more time.
A good concept, but the writers don't know how to like realize it well.
That's how I would put it. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
if they gave more time to the characters to become more relevant to the viewer, or
If they were good writers, they would have done that. So it's literally just the writers having no fucking clue what they're doing. And
yeah, I think
ruining
it's
the
based on a
concept.
manga, so it's. But
As
like
far
it
as
had,
I know, it is.
I think it has like 5 or 6 seasons. The one season came out not too long ago. But I watched that Hellgirl. I'm currently watching Aria the animation, though I'm taking my sweet time with it because it's another Iyashike. It's episodic, but there is a certain progression in it. Unlike, I like to, because for this podcast, it is known that I do not necessarily like episodic stuff, and I've denounced Lucky Star for not being my kind of show. So now I feel like I have to justify liking this and not liking Lucky Star, or not watching Lucky Star. I feel like
more than justify. It's like you can just say,
Rationalize,
like why, not so much, rationalize. Like, why do you like this? Why do you don't like that? And sometimes, these things are only something you can rationalize or explain to yourself on, retrospective, several weeks, months, or even years later. Like, when I think about some movies or books that I like that I know are trashy, the reasons, looking back on it, why I liked it, versus the reasons I tried to come up with on the spot are, much, much different oftentimes. Because, looking back on it, I always have that retrospective and that perspective in general that I was lacking during the time.
Pory, would you agree if I said that you could watch Lucky Star in literally any order and it wouldn't make a difference as for the enjoyment of the show as a whole? Would it be a fair assessment, or have I just not watched enough episodes to make that assessment?
I'm trying to imagine watching. Episode 1 has to be episode 1.
Yes, I mean, okay, I agree on that.
Well, I mean, there are some continuity things like she sees the Haruhi tour that existed, and then later on she's like inspired, so she dresses up as Haruhi for some other thing. I don't remember exactly, but so there are like some continuity things which wouldn't make sense. Like the jokes, I mean, they're jokes. You could like that isn't the problem.
Because I feel like the Aria the animation, you could technically watch all of the episodes, at least that I've watched so far, which is I think 5 or 6. You could watch them out of order, and you would get a pretty good show. But
I think with Lucky Star, you could bundle the episodes together, and then you can say you can watch like if the bundle is episode 2 to episode 5, you can watch 5, then 2, then 4, then 3. But I don't think you could be like, I'm gonna watch episode 1 and then watch episode 17 and then watch episode 3 and then watch episode 11.
Why not?
Because there's just like
too many characters that are involved.
Well, it's like
or what?
No, there are more characters introduced. That's true. But it's like they reference their interactions a lot. So you wouldn't be able to. Yeah.
Just reference, or do you feel like something has changed between those?
I mean, probably a little bit, but then maybe that's just me understanding them more, which is possible. But yeah, it's hard to say.
For example, with Aria the animation, it's just the characters grow in their relationships. Though even though you could technically watch the first 4 episodes relatively out of order. I mean, episode 1 has to be episode 1, right? You could watch them relatively out of order, but like characters are introduced a certain way that doesn't carry to episodes later on. So I think that's why I'm able to watch this more than others, because I feel like the order that I watch it in, and it matters, and there is a certain progression to every single thing I watch. So maybe that's why I like this more than others. But it's not like I'm often thinking like, oh, I really want to watch an episode now. It's more like, oh, I don't have anything else to do. Guess I'll watch some Aria the animation. Always a good time. But it doesn't have the kind of pull that I really want out of an anime that makes me want to just go for the next episode straight away. So I'll finish it probably, but it'll take me some time. I mean, Sheila and I have been watching some more Digimon, which I don't think my verdict on that has changed yet, because we haven't gotten to the
still,
good
you
part.
know, in obviously like the worst part of all of well, no, not the worst part of all of Digimon, but definitely the worst part of, you know, Digimon season 1, which is when they honestly thought they only had 12 episodes.
And I have watched the first episode of Dorohedoro with my brother, which we're probably gonna be group watching every Friday, but like one episode, so I'm probably gonna leave my thoughts on that for another time. And lastly, I have been watching March Comes In Like a Lion, which has been an absolute...
the greatest show of all time.
Which has been an absolute treat. I love it. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it yet, especially because I'm right into it still. But I love it. See, normally, I could be wrong, right? This is just a thought that came up in me. I haven't really thought about it too much to really rationalize, to really set it in stone as a truth. But I feel like this show doesn't do so much progression as it tries to explore more and more and more of the main character at this point. Like, we're slowly getting to know more and more and more about the main character, and that is really intriguing, because the main character is really
down the deep end.
You want to see him be in a better place. I think that's the right way to put it. How would you guys put it? Because you've both watched it, I think.
The first season.
Right, we're still in the first season, so.
Yeah. So yeah, that's actually a pretty good way to put it. But you know, it's kind of like you said, it's kind of, when you watched how you told me when you watched July and April, you know, it's kind of painful watching him, because for the longest time he just doesn't get better, and he has this weird thing where, you know, there's obviously something that makes him better, but he refuses to indulge. And I'm just like, get over your fucking pride, boy, and fucking indulge.
He feels guilty about it. He's like, you know, I don't deserve to feel better. This isn't good. This, you know, I'm infringing on other people.
I think it's much of I don't deserve to feel better. It's more along the lines of, you know.
Well, he definitely thinks that. Because...
I need to get better by myself without, you know, other people's help. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works,
well,
honey. Like, I want to hug him, but at the same time, I want to punch him.
Because I mean, it's because he obviously I mean, spoilers.
Yeah, 12 episodes in, so no spoilers, please. But I do agree.
Well, no, I mean, you've seen this.
Oh, okay.
You've seen this. Because you know, this whole metaphor that he's a cuckoo or whatever, right? He's spent his whole life riding on the backs of other people, and so now he doesn't want to get better riding on the backs of other people, because that's, you know, to him that's like, you know, I've done it once, I'm not going to do it again. And
when I did it, I ruined everything and everyone around me. So that
guilt. I would rather ruin myself than risk ruining like all these other people that are super generous.
Which is kind of why he's not leaning more on the sisters as well. I feel like, I mean, I haven't seen it much yet.
Same with Nikado. Same with the older two shogi players. Like,
and I love in episode 7 when he has that interaction with like the with the baseball guy. That was really cool. I love that. One, because it was very unexpected the way the conversation went. So like I was very glad it did something that I didn't expect. And two, I don't know, nerd jock interactions that are pure and wholesome. I love that kind of stuff. But
himbo and nerd. That's true. That's the dynamic I'm totally down for always.
It's a show I'm thoroughly enjoying. There's a lot of water metaphors. There's a lot of water in general.
I mean, I don't know I don't know if I liked water motifs before I watched this show, or if this show made me love them. I can't remember, but I love water motifs.
In general, like I don't know if any of the two of you have ever suffered from depression, but the
No,
being
not really.
stuck underwater, unable to breathe, completely caught by the currents, unable to surface, feeling all of that pressure. It is so fitting, being down, deep down in the water, not able to surface,
Yeah.
as if
Well,
I linked the symbolism.
It's a very accurate visual representation of what depression feels like.
it also, I like the way that it uses water in lots of ways. So like, there are some times where he's literally drowning.
Mhm.
There are some times when he's pushing against waves. There are some times where the water's really shallow and he's just like sitting in like a puddle. It expresses so many. And then way later on in season 2, it uses water with a different character in another way. But I don't want to.
I love how when he's playing shogi, they often focus on the water bottles or the tea bottles, and like that's also I think that's a way to denote that shogi is playing a part in his depression, because he doesn't like playing shogi. It's just all he can ever do. I really like how they managed to connect that, and how they focus so much on water bottles when it doesn't seem like you would want to focus on water bottles during a shogi match, but they do it for that reason. I really like the kind of feel the show gives you. Very melancholic, very calm, introspective. So I love watching it.
That's a very good way to put it. One of my favorite quotes is, "No, I can't even do depression right." I actually laughed out loud when he said that, because it hits home. I suffered from depression before. The entire mental awareness became big for many years. I was at the tail end of it when I first met Speedy on the road to recovery.
Right.
But yeah, it hits very, very, very close to home, and it's very it's difficult sometimes watching it, because sometimes the solutions are so obvious, like just go to that place where you feel better, indulge in it. There's nothing wrong with that. And it makes me think back to, all of the possible things that I should have obviously done to just help me feel better, and I ended up being self-destructive like that. It's all, it's very, how do I put this? The struggle itself is very down to earth, but represented in this, larger than life, super artsy way that, visualizes the struggle better than, the only down to earth way that, for example, Horimiya would, if it were to tackle the same issues.
Why is this your favorite anime, Pory? Without spoiling it, of course. Is it
Well,
possible?
isn't his favorite like season 2 of it?
No, oh, you pissed me off.
What?
There are so many people. Everyone's like, Sangatsu season 1's really good, but season 2 is when it's a masterpiece. Shut the fuck up!
I didn't mean to say that. I just thought you.
Yeah,
that you
I mean,
had
it just
mentioned that at some point, and I
that
must be
bothers me so
wrong.
much. Like, it bothers me so much.
Why?
I don't know why people think that, to be honest, because like the seasons are. I think the reason people like season 2 better is because it's a lot.
Confrontate.
I mean, that's technically, is that a spoiler? I feel like this is a spoiler. I probably shouldn't say. Okay, I'm not gonna say.
Don't say then.
Yeah.
Why is this show so important? Is it important to you, or is it just your favorite show?
No, it's my favorite show, but it's very important to me. I think that had I not watched it when I was 14, I would probably not be. I'd probably be a different person. I think I'm pretty confident about that.
How do we want to?
Yeah.
How did
Everybody
it
has
change
one show.
you in short? If you
I
want
don't
to be
think it
short
changed
about
me
it.
in particular, but well, I think it just
I mean,
it kind of
you
opened
would
my
have
eyes
been,
a little bit.
you would be a different person. You said so.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd
I think
say
it
it
opened my
changed
eyes.
you.
To that
Shows
because
just give you like a very small thing that puts you on a different track. Like if it opened Pory's eyes to something, that in itself can already be the start of a domino effect to become a person differently than he is. It starts off with understanding what struggles depressions can do, and end up in having this large or very comprehensive understanding, or at least a very open mind towards mental illnesses in general. Even if it's a very small thing can have very big effects. A very small change can go in very big directions.
I don't want
If
to.
that's what it did for Pori.
I don't want to
I
pry.
I don't think it was so much about that. Well, it kind of, I
Oh.
mean, maybe, but I think what it made me like, because when I was 14, I didn't really appreciate that people will act in a way that doesn't seem to be in their benefit, and to me that was just like, why are you like doing things that are obviously like detrimental?
Obviously destructive, self-destructive.
And then I think and then realizing through like the way people kind of it's kind of like they take a bunch of steps back to then like take a huge like round, like there's like the where they are, and then there's the solution. Instead of taking like the straight, what I would imagine would be the straight line to the solution, they take this kind of crazy meandering path, but that pulls like a whole bunch of other people in with them, and then loads of people reach this solution at the end, which is like, it's pretty I mean, for the show it's very poetic, but like just for the way people interact, it's pretty. I just didn't realize.
It made you see people in a different way.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I've never really struggled with depression before, so visualization is the best way I can relate to, or not relate, but understand this kind of thing. It's depression has always been something that I couldn't quite grasp. I know it's something very tangible for people that go through it, but I've never really been able to I mean, I've said before, to understand really. So this show is doing a lot of things, and one of those things is giving me more of an understanding of depression in general, which is I think it's important for a person to understand what it is, even if you haven't really dealt with it in the first place. So it's so far very good, and I am hoping it will lead to a very satisfying conclusion. The second season is the last one too, right?
Well,
like, there's an ending.
There are more. There's more manga,
Oh.
but I personally, I'm okay with it never being adapted.
The last.
Because I think, the rest of the manga, I'm okay with that. That to me that doesn't exist, because the
Right.
way season 2 ends is a perfect place to end. It doesn't need it anymore.
Right. I shouldn't ask why, because spoilers.
I mean, when you watch it, you'll understand. I mean,
yeah, I mean, we will get there. Probably in. I mean, we're doing 6 episodes a week, so somewhere early April, I think, or late April.
But
late April.
I'm probably not going to be watching it for a while, though.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, no one's telling you to.
Yeah, it'll age like fine wine. So, when there's a rainy day.
Don't
no
you worry,
shows
Pory, and I'm probably going to love it as much as you do. Well, maybe not as much, but similarly.
I mean,
as much.
I honestly don't think that I will find a show I like more. I struggle to imagine that I will find a show I like more. I hope I do.
Fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I hope I find one.
Man, imagine,
honestly,
that would be a bomb-ass show, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But the reason why I don't think you'll find a show that you like more is because that age between, let's say, 13 and 16 is where the things that hit you, how do I put this? They hit differently, right? They stick with you in different ways than they do when you. Yeah, they literally stick with you in different. Like the things that you consume during that time literally develops your taste and your preferences for the rest of your life, right? So that's why pretty much everybody who has a favorite anything, a favorite book, a favorite movie, a favorite whatever, comes from, that age, and I'm no different. My favorite movie is How to Train Your Dragon. Guess when I watched it? I was 15.
Oh, that movie's good though.
That same age.
That's not quite for me though, because I started watching anime at 16.
Yeah, but you have other things, right? You have, I don't know, a favorite, video game, book, cartoon,
Yes.
whatever you type of music, whatever you consumed a lot while you were in that age.
No, not. I feel like for a lot of reasons that I'm not really gonna go through, I wasn't really able to explore my own likes as much during those years that I was able to more freely explore from 16 to 20. So I feel like that's maybe why when it comes to music and movies and anime and games, the things that really stuck with me happened in those years instead of earlier. But enough introspection and very deep topics, deep for an anime podcast at least. I'm gonna give over the hosting to Sheila because she wants to talk about fashion in anime.
I want to talk about fucking fashion. Because, the reason for that is, back to back, two episodes came out. One about all about fashion from Mother Spaceman, and then I think just a few days later, a Trash Taste episode, where the boys talk about fashion, and I've always Speedy, I'm a bit of a fashionista, right?
Yes, you are.
I don't follow the trends, but I have my own very distinct style, and I take pride in that style.
You have your own trends. You create your trends.
Exactly. And one of my favorite things has always been, designing outfits, for my characters. And even up to this day, I spend a lot of time researching, researching fashions from around the world, researching what is current, what is from that era, what is from this era. Unless it's a complete fantasy world, in those cases I go nuts. To give the best possible outfits to my characters. I spend way more time on this than I really should. And I did not know that people took interest in that until I saw those two episodes, right? And I'm like, oh my god, people take interest in that. I have to talk about it.
Right.
So now let's fucking talk about it.
I mean, you're the host. Do you have any questions for us? Do you have questions for us? Do you have your own anecdotes?
Actually, I have my very first question is there any show out there where the two have you noticed just oh my god, those outfits are something, whether
Bleach.
They're crazy, cool.
Bleach.
Bleach, yeah, okay, Bleach is a good start. Pory?
I think I'll have to think about it.
For me, Bleach is an instant standout. Because
right, in that case, why don't we start off, tell me, everything, because it's true, Bleach is a standout in terms of fashion design, so tell me everything you think about it.
The way usually shonen works, right? You have a main character, and because it's easy to draw, they usually wear the same clothes. And it also works that in most high school anime, they have high school uniforms, so it's easy to draw as well. So there's no... usually, for convenience sake, and because... For convenience sake, I guess, for the most part, outfits aren't really a thing. So when shows that in a genre that usually don't do it, do have fashion sense... it really sticks out, and Bleach really made it stick out because they look so cool, and part of why they look so cool is because they wear cool clothes. They don't wear just...
it's literally the height of 2000s fashion, and it's there's just so much really that that skateboarder coolness.
It drips from the pages. When you look at the art, the art in the manga, it drips from those especially the early pages. It drips from there. All the... Because Tite Kubo wanted to draw a cool manga, whether it be in, the action or how the characters looked. So, it does make sense that he would do that, but it does take some extra thought in trying to constantly come up with new clothes. New ways to clothe all of your characters.
Especially if you want to keep it consistent, it takes research.
It's every person has their own fashion sense. So if you're going to start doing fashion sense in anime, you're gonna have to create a fashion sense for all of your characters. Some people don't really care. Others dress a certain way. It's very
Or you do it like JoJo's and you just go completely wild.
like that. Or JoJo's is another example. Very famously.
I don't think JoJo's does a lot of research. He just like draws whatever the fuck he wants to draw on them. I mean, those are some of the most ridiculous out there costumes I've ever seen.
One thing, like I was thinking, like, okay, what is the one of those moments where a character really should have had a very distinctive and large fashion, large wardrobe, but don't. Like there's the girl from Death Note, for example. The one
Yeah,
the
she's
goth.
literally just
She
yeah,
just
the
wears
gothic
the same clothes all the time. No goth wears the same clothes all the time. They've got a lot of different clothes.
I mean, Elle
pretty
kind of
sure.
wears the same things all the time, the same outfit all the time.
Oh, maybe I don't know much about goth.
He
as
always
much
wears
as I
like he
did.
wears the exact same, jeans and like white shirt. That's all he ever wears.
Well, that's boring, isn't it?
I mean, but it suits his character too.
No, okay.
He's, kind of a sloppy kind of a, not really caring about his appearance and appearances kind of a person. So in his case, it suits him. But a literal like gothic Lolita, like me going into the goth direction myself. In terms of how I just no gothic Lolita is going to want to wear the same outfit all the time. Like they have like 110 different outfits in their to wear, for every single day in their drawers. So why give her only one fucking outfit? Like
Because
she's a fashion Lolita.
convenience.
She's a gothic Lolita. Have fun with it.
Convenience.
The fun thing about gothic Lolita is you don't even need to know the fashion that well. Just draw fluffy frilly things, make them black, and go and have fun. Like you can have so much fun without their designs. Why not do it?
If there was
You're
one
literally
character,
limiting yourself.
if there was one character the Death Note offer could have gone wild with, it would have been her, and he didn't.
Mhm.
It's miss chance.
Such a waste.
What about Pory? Do you know any
Okay,
shows?
so I scrolled down my entire My Anime list, and the only show that actually like stood out in my mind as having good outfits was Cross Game.
Really weird because you watch so many cute girls doing cute things show. Like
yeah, I mean,
cute girls should be,
Yeah, but they also.
I mean,
a
I
more
thought about it.
fashion
I thought about
content
it, and
than
I was
boys.
like, I mean, there's probably, like, I've definitely thought before, wow, that's a really good outfit, right? But like, when I scrolled down, K-On! And all that stuff, I was like, nah, I just don't.
Yeah, because they only ever wear school uniforms.
Well,
That's one
Cross
of my
Game,
biggest-
they're in a school most of the time, anyway, as well.
Yeah, one of my biggest pet peeves with anime in general is, the fact that they're all high school age does not give way for, a lot of how do I put it? A lot of character, like one big part about character design is actually the fashion, because how they dress tells you a lot about not just, the personality in general, but also, their personality of the day, right? If somebody's like, going back to, the depression from March comes in like a lion, if that had played in Europe, where, people are allowed, okay, maybe not London, England, because, England sucks, but if it had played in literally any other country in England, where the kids are allowed to dress themselves, the author could have literally made a statement on, the mindset of the day of our main character, depending on, how he is dressed. Because
Well, he actually kind of has a well, there's like, I don't know if it's fashion necessarily, but there are scenes where he'll wear like a green jumper or cardigan.
But those are like the only two. His school outfit and the green cardigan are just about the only two outfits that he has, right?
I mean, yeah.
But
I mean,
depending
for
on
a
the state
different
of
reason,
on the state of mind, depending on the state of mind that you're at, you will put more or less effort into your outfit. If you're like super depressed, like if you're in a really, really bad period, chances are you're not going to change your clothes for a week, and you're going to it's going to start staining, it's going to start stinking, it's going to start, it's going to be another one of these things that bring you further down into depression. But it's a really good way of showing, how is that character's mindset for the day. So that fashion can also be used in that way. I mean, quote unquote fashion, should say fashion design. It's part of the character design, really, in those cases.
Yeah, character design. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
fashion design is part of the character design.
And not enough authors use that to their fullest advantage.
Yeah. And again, it's a part of it. It's just, the landscape of having absolutely every fucking thing set in high school or for high school age characters. And the idea that, because, Japan is so big on uniforms and uniformity that I feel like one of the reasons why we don't see it a lot in Japan is because everything is so uniform and everything is about uniformity, that the idea of exploring your self-expression through clothing is not really existent or exists really only in university age.
I feel like
that's it.
That might be contributing to the problem, but if you're an author that wants to add a fashion sense to your characters, but the only reason you don't do it is because your characters would usually wear school uniforms, that's kind of a sad excuse. I'm pretty sure if you want to add a fashion sense to your character,
the main reason is that they need to get it. They need to, get the episode out or get the chapter out, and
I mean, yeah, but that's talking for the anime, right? Like most anime are adaptations from mangas, right? And it's really not that like. I mean, you're gonna have to put in, the research anyways for, whatever reason. So researching the clothes, especially if it's like in modern day or, if it's a fantasy world, doesn't take, much more time. And there are other mangakas like Clamp. We'll get to those and put a pin in that and get to those later. Where, they do have, they show that it can be done. It is absolutely possible. What I meant with that is not so much that, using that as an excuse, it's that the idea, the very mindset of using clothing as a form of self-expression, using clothing as a sign of character design, is not really prevalent in Japanese culture in general. People don't even think about it because nobody ever does it.
So it's a grander Japanese culture problem rather than just
an
anime
problem. I would say so. I would say so. I do think that.
It is that, but it is also very convenient. It's just convenience sake. Like offers
I'm pretty sure. I also think it's there's a bit of a branding thing, because if this character is always wearing the same outfit, it's like, that outfit is this show. So I think there's like utility there and merchandise and stuff like that.
I mean, how many outfits can you remember?
I mean,
how many school uniforms can you remember and place?
I guarantee if you I'm not even joking.
Not. I mean, Harry, we probably do because it's
if you like went on my mail and found a school show I've seen, if you got that uniform, I could probably tell you what show it was from. I mean, I'm pretty confident about that.
Every single one.
I mean, maybe not the bad ones. Maybe not the ones I dropped after 10 seconds, but
I mean, the ones
I like.
I mean, there are some that are kind of iconic. Like the first Pretty Cure, their school outfits are pretty cool, and every character wears them differently, right? Which it's kind of interesting. It's kind of fun, Or in Shugo Kera, the main character wears their school uniform very, very differently from everyone else, and that in itself is also, a statement on their character.
I can't stand it when there's just every character in the show breaks dress code. It fucking pisses me off.
But that gives it character.
Depends on how lax the dress code is. From what I understand, not every school is has the same strictness on dress code.
Why does it piss you off so much?
Because it's like, just breaks the immersion completely. It's like,
what do you mean?
This kid, I mean, there's no way the school would just let you run around with like, fucking whatever the fuck, with like, I mean, like in like Jujutsu Kaisen, the guy doesn't even wear his fucking outfit. Like he just wears a hoodie in school.
I mean, that's shonen.
Yeah, they're just not. But like, I'm just like, this is not a school that exists. Like,
I mean, it doesn't.
Probably, like I said, it's like in Japan, different schools have different strictness in terms of first of all, in terms of the rules for the school uniforms, what you can accessorize with and what you can't, and then also, even there are several schools that have very strict rules, but they don't really ever enforce them. So.
Yeah.
So I have heard. I've never gone to
Maybe
school
I'm
in
just
Japan, so I don't know
projecting
how
because my
accurate that
school
is.
was very picky on outfits. But
Really?
Yeah.
Was or is?
well, no, it is. Well, I'm not there anymore, so how am I supposed to know?
Oh, I mean, okay, so you're no longer there, so that's what I mean. Was.
Yeah, it was.
Wondering, by the way, in Germany, I think in the Netherlands as well, Speedy, right? There are no dress codes. Period.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Not even because in the US at the very least, you have like the dress codes for girls and a little bit for boys too, but like skirts need to be, this long or, not showing any shoulder or whatever for shirts. There is absolutely no dress code in most European countries. We can literally dress however we want.
As long as you're using common sense.
As long as you're using common sense.
Don't
Don't wander into school.
You couldn't. I don't think people would be allowed in school if they were there in their bikini or just their trunks or whatever. I don't know. That sounds a little too ridiculous.
Literally, like on really hot days, we have had like boys in school wearing nothing but
shorts. Okay, yeah. I mean,
I can't imagine
that's a
that
special.
functioning.
Sorry.
I can't imagine the school functioning at that point. Like that's just. Really...
I had.
It's pointless because nobody cares.
I had in middle school. There was one moment where we were on break, and it was so hot, and that some people had taken off their shirts, and one guy was just laying on against the wall without his shirt, and then there was a seagull just pooped right onto his chest.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Well,
I'm not good at telling stories.
I've gone to school in crop tops and mini skirts, like mini skirts, and like again, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Like literally, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Everything functions because nobody gives a shit.
Everyone is able to express themselves the way they want to, and they're almost expected to do so.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it would be weird if you always showed up in the same outfit all the time. That would stand out more than anything else.
That would absolutely stand out. That has stood out. I've heard like
maybe it would if you hadn't just gone. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard like discussions in buses, like on the buses on the way home or on the way to school of like girls or boys, I don't care, gossiping about somebody wearing the same outfit for like 4 days.
Yeah, that's just because I don't fucking wash their clothes. That's the one because they're wearing the same thing.
But that's why I'm saying it would stand out if everybody were to wear the same thing every day. That absolutely does stand out.
Well, wearing a school uniform is wearing the same thing every day.
Wait, no, but how many school uniforms do you have when you wear one? Like, do you have only one? Do you wash it every day?
3.
You have 3 school uniforms, the same one.
Yeah. You wear one on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, and wash the first 2 for Thursday and Friday.
I mean, I do my laundry like, I don't know, every 10 days or something.
Well, you need a lot of uniforms then.
10 uniforms.
I mean, growing up, I didn't have any control over it because I grew up in a restaurant. We didn't have a private a private washing machine or anything. So laundry was done by the cleaning ladies who were in charge of the restaurant once a week. There was no say in that. And you honestly think that I, being the little snot-nosed brat that I was allowed to touch the washing machines?
Oh no. Yeah. I mean, you have a big fashion sense.
Wait. I'm curious. Did you have did you have problems with the videos that you talked about? Like, did you think they were just talking out their ass or?
Wait, no. It was just an inspiration because it's
okay.
Oh my god, people are actually interested in this. I want to talk about it
I thought
too
you would
now.
be like, Gigok said this thing. This is just not true.
I've had this pent up for like 10 whole fucking years, right? And I want to get it out of my system. Right. Because then there is the masters that is Clamp. Mm-hmm. The masters of fashion. Have you guys ever watched any Clamp show?
I think Angelic Layer.
Which ones?
Angelic Layer is a Clamp show, right?
Yes, it's a Clamp show.
Okay.
Then you should have noticed the fashion designs.
Maybe.
Because first of all, they're very, very unique. You're not going to find anything like that in any other show, like any other non-Clamp show. Like even all the way up to the school uniforms. Like the school uniforms are unlike...
I remember the uniforms. They were pretty good.
Yeah, that's just how noticeable that they are. That no matter how many years pass, I remember them in detail because they're just so unique and so well done. And then every single doll having these really unique outfits, these really like well put together, perfectly coordinated outfits that are, oh my god, they're so pretty.
Chobits is kind of an exception to the rule, isn't it? Because I feel like the guy in Chobits only wore monochromatic, monocolor clothes, I think.
But what about the girl, though?
Did she wear different dresses? I didn't remember.
Oh, she wore a lot of different dresses, a lot of
Oh
different
yeah,
outfits.
she did.
She had like one.
But the guy was the guy was so boring. I mean, he was boring in a lot of ways, but I guess in his fashion sense as well, he was very boring.
Where the statement is, because he's kind of like I wouldn't say like he's a loser with a good heart, right? Like he deserves good things coming to him, but he's dopey, right? And so his clothing was deliberately designed to reflect that.
Yeah, he wasn't really
especially
a fun
in contrast
character.
with all of the beautiful dresses that were given to Chi.
That's fair. She had very good dresses. I mean,
Yes.
I say so, but I don't remember them. So
And then there is Cardcaptor Sakura, where every single episode, every character has a new outfit. Like, I think the only outfit that was ever used twice or more than once is the school outfits, literally.
or the magical girl outfits.
No. Every magical girl outfit is unique in every single episode. Because there is no one magical
even
girl.
with the same even with the same character?
Yes, because there is no magical girl outfit who doesn't have a transformation. The entire show is, her best friend Tomoyo really loves fashion and really loves dressing up Sakura. So she makes all of these outfits for Sakura to change into to do her magical girl stuff, and films her.
That is kind of impressive. I like that. I like that detail.
Yes, and they do that in the anime too, where whenever she goes out and you see her outside of school a lot, she wears a different outfit. Tomoyo, absolutely loves dressing her up. Some episodes are all about, Tomoyo having like, I have this huge amount of clothes that I made for you that I can't possibly have you all wear at once using the cloud cards. So why don't you come over to my villa and I will make you dress up and film you. And Sakura hates every second of it, but it's so hilarious to watch. And God, the outfits are just, some of them I really, really love. Others are a bit too childish for my liking, but every single one of them is unique and memorable.
I mean,
they're
children.
Clamp really goes all out with their fashion.
They're children, though, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but like, there's the feud. There's the new show in which they're in middle school, and you think, they would get a little less childish, and some of them do, but some of them also don't. They're a little bit hit or miss for me, but they're always memorable, always.
Right.
Clamp has impacted me a lot in terms of, like how I think about dressing up my characters. And then on top of that, the one that beats even that is Tsubasa Chronicles.
Also
because also Clamp, what Tsubasa Chronicles does is, they go through all of these different worlds, right? And the worlds are all, based on different things. Like, there's one world that is based a lot on Korea. There's one world that's based very much on China. There's, they go to Japan. They go to like a winter world, several different winter worlds. One based on actual high fantasy, one based on, I don't know, like Victorian era England. There's one that's based on that is Japan, but like in a post-apocalyptic future. There are like a lot of different worlds that they go to. They're all like based on different things, and of course, they all have their own fashion sense. And every single time they design clothing for all of the characters to fit into that world, and they actually make money and support themselves in whichever world they are by taking the clothes with them and selling them, because you can really get a lot of money by selling like super foreign stuff. So
Didn't you also do that on purpose? Making
What?
stories where they get to make like an infinite number of clothes so they can.
I mean, Clamp kind of has both. They have clothing in which they definitely have, or they have shows in which they definitely have a uniform, like in Rayers, Magic Knight Rayers. And then they also have shows where they can just go, buck wild with their character design. And the character designs in the fashion design in Cardcaptor Sakura and in Tsubasa Chronicles are very, very different in nature and vibe. There is absolutely no childishness in, I think, just about any of the fashion designs in Tsubasa Chronicles, whereas the Cardcaptor Sakura ones, are very, very cutesy and very kiddish. So, yeah. But it also shows that they're having a lot of fun with it, and the animators adapt all of it. It's amazing.
So, would you say that an author with a great sense of, with a great fashion sense for their characters is a bonus, or do you think that authors should do this more? Like, is this should this be a requirement for an author to do for their characters, or is it something that just enriches the experience if an author chooses to do so? How important is characters having fashion?
I think it's mandatory, like legit downright mandatory. Because again, character design, right? Character design does not just involve I don't know, like what hair color and what eye color, the character has. Character design involves everything about the character, right? Down to like the tiniest detail, especially if you have a long running show where you can explore the character a lot. And thinking about, the clothing choices is a part of that, because everybody does it every day, all the time. It's a big part of, our human experience. Just like, how or why or when, we have our hairstyles and even in many ways our makeup. Like one of the standout shows to me that really goes all in with, the makeup is The Umbrella Academy. Because like in most, even Hollywood doesn't do that, right? And like you can say many things about Hollywood, but they understand their character design, even in like the smallest, stupidest things. But even then, the makeup on the people in Hollywood movies is always perfect. And then you have the Umbrella Academy, in which every single character, down to even their makeup, is like, this is how the character would do their makeup. You have one character who's kind of like a drug addict mess, who almost looks like he just smears charcoal around his eyes a little bit, in the super messy way. You have a literal movie star who, looks like she spends way too much time every morning, doing her makeup absolutely perfectly. You kind of have like a bland character who literally takes pills to suppress her emotions. So, she doesn't wear any makeup at all. And if she does, it's very imperfect because you can tell she doesn't have any practice to it. All of these are things that help you, get a hang of who the character is, even if you don't notice it consciously. From the fashion choices to their clothing choices to their hair choices, absolutely everything is important to understanding who your characters are. And the fact that authors, especially mangaka, don't really participate in that and don't do that is kind of a problem, because it means they're not really thinking about their characters as people. They're thinking about them as, stereotypes and characters.
Do you think
yeah.
that's it's just incompetence that authors don't do that as much? Or
yeah,
just for
I actually do think that. Because most mangakas are not trained, they just try it out.
Yeah.
And if they get it, if they get the what am I looking for here? If they get the gig, they get it. Period.
Do you think this is a problem, especially with Japanese media or anime specifically, or is this a wider spread problem in the rest of the world as well?
Give me a second to think about that. Talk about something else in the meanwhile. Like, I'm literally trying to go through, like all of the different media that I've seen, because like I watch a lot of media from all over the world.
For example,
so give me a second to
superheroes, for example, they've had enough animated series like Superman, Batman. I don't know. Do they have fashion sense?
Superheroes, yes, they do. They all do. Each and every single one of them.
Okay.
Always.
I don't know, so I'll believe you.
their costumes are the main thing, right?
Yes, of course. But outside of their costumes.
Even outside of their costumes, they pretty much all do.
Okay.
Like just think about the Marvel movies, like Captain America, Steve Rogers, what's his name? I don't remember. It's been a while since I've watched Captain America. Always wears clothes that look like, they're from a bit of a bygone era. Bruce Banner always wears clothes that look like they're, like really worn out. I'm kind of trying to remember the kind of clothes that Peter Parker wore. he was kind of a nerd, so they're not really.
Nerdy. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm thinking
so
of Tom
they're
Holland.
not...
You're thinking of the other one. Tom Holland isn't.
Yeah, I'm thinking Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Tom Holland is supposed to be nerdy, I think, but he doesn't look like the nerdy kid. So I can't think him.
I mean, where
as
I
a
was
kid,
going with
kid.
this was where I was going with this was that that he kind of wears clothes that don't really stand out at all because of that. Which makes a lot of sense because he has other things to think and worry about.
Pory, do you think that fashion sense in characters is that very important to you in general? Like, do you like that in a show, or is this something you never really thought about?
I mean, I'm gonna choose good fashion sense over bad fashion sense. I mean,
yeah. But have you ever thought about it as much as Sheila
well,
has?
I think I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm using Precure as every example.
That's okay.
Like I do remember watching Precure, and there'll be an episode where the characters will be wearing new outfits, and I'll be like, oh, they're wearing new outfits. And then later on, they'll like revert back to the old ones, and I would be pretty disappointed because they're like, oh, I thought we were doing,
the new ones.
I thought we were exploring, new outfits, but I guess not. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I think about it for like a second, and then I move on.
It's not something that lingers in your mind for 10 years.
Yeah, it's not a deal breaker. I mean.
Do you have any more questions for us, Sheila?
Yeah, actually, let's just venture outside of anime just a little bit. Have you noticed fashion design, like in anything outside of anime at all, and how it's used? Because fashion design is thought of very, very differently, especially in Hollywood, than it is in pretty much anything else, including, of course, anime.
I'm not well versed in that kind of stuff now, so.
Pory?
I mean, I don't
watch. I mean, even video games. You watch you play video games, Speedy. Think of video games too.
That's a good one. What video games often have characters wearing different stuff?
I mean, normally you choose it, right? What the characters wear.
It depends on the kind of game.
But it doesn't even have to be, wearing a whole bunch of different outfits. It's okay if, they just have one defining outfit. Because that one defining outfit already can tell you a lot about their character, too.
I thought that having a fashion sense meant that you have multiple articles of clothing that tell who you are. Like, for example,
that's having a fashion sense, but I'm talking about fashion design in general.
Oh, fashion design.
And in video games, video games, you can't really, unless, you're literally like choosing your own outfit, or you have like a Breath of the Wild thing where each outfit has their own little thingies, their own little things they can do. But video games has these things where you can't really change if you are an RPG. You can't really change the outfit of the characters much. So that one outfit that they do have needs to tell you a lot about the character.
I've never really thought about it consciously. I think if you play a game and a character has good fashion design or good design in general, you subconsciously pick up on some of the hints that the characters are trying to give you about the character through the design, but never consciously for me anyway. What about you, Pory?
Yeah, I think it's just that because I imagine that every outfit that every character ever wears is like deliberate, but I just don't know enough about it to be able to be like, oh, that's why that's that way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
To be entirely fair, you guys don't know much about what we're discussing in general. Like,
sure.
Yeah, okay, there's you've watched the anime, but how much do you actually know about anime? So that's not really anything new here.
We've had a lot of enlightening speeches from you, though. So is there another one coming?
I already gave one, I think, about fashion this time around.
You already did. I mean, I guess that's another one answered. God,
but JoJo's fashion, man. JoJo's fashion.
JoJo's fashion. I mean, I've seen it. It's very extravagant.
Yes, it is. Like, how does he come up with those designs, man? That's just
he
I'm so
looks
jealous.
at things and draws from inspiration, or literally just draws the things that he sees.
But where does he come up with those ideas?
Probably from his brain.
Well, no fucking shit. Thank you very much. You're helpful.
You gotta ask him yourself. I think you're asking the wrong people here.
Actually, this is okay. This is
My
complete
point is, like, I want
pivot.
to be able to design clothes like these. Why can he do it and I
This
cannot?
is
That's
this is
why
gonna
I'm going
sound
here.
okay. I think you might have to like dig around. I think Econ has a panel from like a convention from years ago, where and like it must have been like 2014-ish, where he talks about like the fashion of JoJo, because he made a remark like way later on about how he was pissed off that he made this big thing, and then everyone asked like, and then the questions afterwards were like, so who's your favorite ship? And he was like, oh,
that is the video where he illuminates on
was that the
why
latest one?
yeah the one of elitists
so yeah, you have to dig around for that convention.
I'll be looking for it.
Yeah, if it is online at all.
All right, one last question. Going from fashion and anime, I'm going to ask you the same question that the Trash Taste Boys asked themselves. You guys and your fashion, is there any? When did what is there? When did you become aware of it?
I honestly couldn't tell you what I'm wearing right now. Like,
what are you wearing right now?
I'm wearing a it's like burgundy t-shirt, and I'm wearing gray jogging bottoms. But I couldn't tell you what
Johnny Worms? What?
Jogging bottoms.
Oh.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. Because it's comfortable.
I couldn't tell you what I'm, but like I don't think I actually pick what I wear. I'm pretty sure I have no idea what I put on. I just put clothes that fit and boom, when I wear them.
Yeah, for me.
I'm still wearing what I wore to school today, which is, you know, my favorite emo/goth dress. You know, the one with the frilly skirt, Speedy, and thigh-high stockings, and my Jack Skellington jacket on top of that I got for birthday from my mom, which I love because it has a really cool cut.
So I have 3 different ways that I wear stuff, right?
I thought you were to say I have 3 different outfits, and I was gonna laugh.
That'd be pretty bad. No. I mean, I have a collection of clothes from different areas in my life that I still wear all the time. Usually, my older clothes I usually wear to work. These have prints of games or video games or anime or other stuff like that I really like. And I see, the thing about anime and video game merchandise is they're very often either very loud or very ostentatious. They're not very subtle, and they don't usually look good in and of itself. Like, if you weren't a fan of the thing, it would just look dumb. Especially if it's an anime face on a shirt. I hate that. I hate wearing that.
I don't think merchandise is actually wearable.
Have you guys all seen the Ahego hoodie?
Yeah.
God.
Like the first time I saw this, I was my literal reaction was, what the fuck?
The anime shirts that I like are the kinds of shirts that you might realize they're an anime shirt if you really like
I can't
one thing that I like.
I can't. I mean, maybe I guess it depends on what the thing is, but I think that I don't actually think there is a way to make merchandise worth buying, because
it depends on how fashionable
I think
it is.
when it's very subtle, I feel like I'm an idiot.
Why?
Because I'm paying way more. Like, let's say it's a white shirt with this little logo of this show, right?
You're right.
On the breast. I feel like a moron because I'm paying 3 times as much for this tiny little.
I mean, I bought
I guess it depends what it is.
I bought my merchandise on Redbubble, but
I'm paying way more than I should for this little, this little logo. but otherwise it's the exact same as just like buying a regular shirt.
I feel like
Or the
Me in
alternative
between
is
with
it's
my Jack Skellington, my two different types of Jack Skellington
Yeah.
thigh high socks,
I
and
don't think I have
my
the
Jack
I don't
Skellington
have,
jacket.
yeah, I don't have the balls to wear a just go that crazy.
I feel like I think it's worth a certain amount of money just because I am able to express myself
yeah.
the way I am. I think that's worth something to be able to be yourself through the things that you wear. So in that sense, I think that is the way. But that's usually those older shirts I usually wear to work, where I do some physical work here and there, because there's holes in them. They're old, and they're like I think I grew out of them a little bit, so they're a little too small. The second ones are the same kind, but usually hoodies. Uh, Also merchandise, but they're just warm, like complete comfort. Just I don't care what I wear; it doesn't need to match as long as it's comfortable. And then when I go out, like to friends or just outside, I do like to wear things, and I that aren't merchandise per se.
I do hope that you like to wear things when you go outside.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to think while saying things. It's difficult. I don't usually go shopping. I hate going shopping. But that has nothing to do with clothes in general, but the fact that I have to try clothes in the shop. I hate that. It makes me very uncomfortable being half naked in a shop, or being or like being on not having any shoes on in a shop. It just feels weird. So I don't like it takes me out of my comfort zone. I don't like that. But when I do go shopping, I always find one or two shirts or pants that just strike my fancy. I don't know why, but they strike my fancy, and I buy them. And that's just how my it works. I don't know if it can you call that fashion if you don't know what your fashion sense is.
Yeah, I mean I don't know if a lack of fashion is.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't call it a lack of fashion. A lack of fashion is literally
because the fashion is still there. You just can't define it. That's all
I can't define what I like. Some of it is merchandise stuff. Some of it is just cool stuff that I found in a shop. The other some is it just I don't have that yet, but I intend to go shopping eventually on the internet for some shirts that are just cool. I don't know. I'll probably have to take some time for that when I actually want to take out some time for that. I've been meaning to. Yeah, I certainly became more aware and found more importance in wearing what I want to wear instead of having other people buy things for me. But I can't really define it. Yeah. It'll grow.
Where did that start for you?
I think the first time I actually bought merchandise shirts, which was somewhere in 2016. My first batch, because I bought, this was the first time I bought shirts from Redbubble. It was a few anime shirts, a lot of Overwatch shirts. It's really weird. Some of the prints in game are pretty cool, and they worked well enough as Overwatch shirts. Some of them have still survived and work now as work clothes. So, that kind of thing. It's just
thing for me is that like I was like my classmates out of like elementary and middle school can tell you that I had absolutely no sense of fashion. Like I could not give two shits about what I was wearing until I turned like 16, 17, and I discovered like the goth / emo / goth, emo, what's the third one? Oh yeah, / punk clothing that I eventually like all took and made my own. But that was like a very slow transition too, that took 2 to 3 years or something. it's kind of interesting how that goes because like today I am super fashion conscious. I, am very, very picky about what I wear, what I buy. But at the same time, I'm like so self-indulgent. I literally have like aristocrats underwear just because I can.
I feel like I haven't fully developed it yet. There is. I was thinking about it not too long ago, in a completely different way. I was like, if I had to spend even more time in trying to develop my taste in clothes, what would I take? What direction would I take it into? And I feel like I would be very interested in using more pastels. I really like pastel colors, and it's not a very normal thing. I think not everyone usually wears pastel colored clothes, but I feel like I might want to try more of that. But it would need to be it'll come in the future. It's just not something I've concerned myself with yet. Is there anything
Fair.
that you think you might want to, you might gravitate towards, Pori, or is this something like you'll just let it come eventually? You'll just you don't know.
No. I mean, I just don't feel very compelled to.
Maybe it'll come. Like from what I understand, because every country that has school uniforms, it's usually around the first 1 or 2 to 3 years of university or life after, I should say, after high school, where people start really actually thinking about fashion
Because
or what they're wearing.
people still buy clothes for you, or do you just buy whatever's easiest to reach or whatever? I don't know how.
50-50.
50-50. Yeah, understandable.
Question. One last question before we wrap this up, guys.
Yeah, we've been going.
If there is any anime whose fashion you like, if you had to choose one anime to live in based on the fashion alone, which one would it be?
I mean,
Based on the fashion alone.
based on the fashion alone, that implies that we have to.
But we're just like a normal
choose-
person, right? We can't dress up like fucking wizards and shit.
I mean, if you're in a fantasy world, you absolutely can dress up like a wizard and shit. But you would have to blend in with the fashion of the world, so that would be the one rule.
Yeah, but not many anime have good fashion in the first place. So this question implies that there are many options available where there aren't.
I'm trying to I'm thinking like I thought I had was like Hanako-kun, and I think that show actually does have good like fashion design.
You know what? I agree actually. Like even the school uniforms are super stylish.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
probably my
the whole
favorite
art
one.
style is really.
But I think
cool.
that's just because I like how it looks. I have to be honest.
The art style is
I
really.
mean,
I mean, for me, it's absolutely no question. It's Tsubasa Chronicles, just because of the huge variety of clothing.
I
Speedy?
I feel like
Your turn?
I could make a decision. I could say an anime, but it would not be final. It would just be the first thing that comes to my mind, which is
That's
Bleach.
fine.
Which is Bleach because it's the only fashionable show that I know of which I also really like the fashion sense. But it's the only option. It's literally the only option for me. Like if I had more options, or I managed to dig up more things that I knew were fashionable, maybe I'd pick something different.
I mean, I know you haven't watched Detective Conan in a while, but like their fashion is very pastel-y in general.
Yeah, but I haven't seen it in a while, and I feel like that's an overall fashion sense, as not so much a personal fashion sense that every character has. So, I mean, they do wear different clothes every single time, but it's also pretty simple usually.
Like whatever is recent and
Yeah.
averagely recent.
You do see the flow of time in Detective Conan through the clothes that they wear.
Definitely.
What about you, Pori? Nothing coming to mind.
You already said Hanako.
Oh, he's sorry. Yeah, I don't know. So sorry. Yeah. Then, before I fall asleep and lose my mind entirely from not paying attention too much, I think we should wrap this up. But I want to ask one more thing as well for next time, because next time I want to do the Pokemon episode, and I know I've asked this before, and you've had answered the question before. But Pory, if we want to catch up to a particular Pokemon episode, what things would you want to discuss specifically?
Wow.
So we maybe can watch it, like especially me, because I've rarely watched any Pokemon.
Say something. Because there's one thing I really, really want to discuss, because it's honestly really ridiculously good, and like anime and media in general needs to learn from it, which is the third fucking Pokemon movie.
The third Pokemon
Good
movie.
movie.
Yeah, the Entei one.
What do you think, Pori?
I like it. I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't know if it's my favorite movie.
No. Yeah, but what do you think?
Oh,
Yeah.
in general. Oh,
In general, what do you think?
Generations, Twilight Wings. They're really short as well, so you'll get them pretty quick.
Generations and Twilight Wings. Okay.
Wait, let me
So
just make
chill,
sure
right?
I'll make sure. I mean, I'll be listening to this again.
That's actually really easy. It's probably about an hour in total across all of them. So it'll be fun.
And Entei is like what, an hour and a half, I think, at most.
Yeah, so the Pokemon.
So yeah, it should be doable in 2 weeks.
Right. I'll try to get that watched for the next time. And if anyone is listening to this, you should too, if you want to follow up on next week and get going. We've never gone this long before. It's going to be hell to edit in time, if time is even relevant in the future. But 2 hours and 43 minutes in, I think we should put an end to this episode. We've
Agreed.
talked about a lot
Agreed.
of different stuff. It took us a long time to get even to fashion.
Yeah, we started arguing about.
Agreed.
Yeah, we started arguing about.
We were talking about what
This
we
is an
watched
anime
for
podcast.
1.5 hours.
It's an anime podcast.
It is an anime podcast, and I do think we had some very great discussions.
Agreed.
But for more of that, we will go to 2 weeks in the future, and you can hear us again. Until then, though...
Probably, possibly, maybe, probably not. Let's be real here.
Until then...
With our scheduling.
Yeah, with our scheduling, it's going to be a little difficult. But until then, or in the future, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.